17 defeat suffered in Toronto last week. This week, the Argos have traveled west for the rematch at Taylor Field in Regina. It is Toronto at Saskatchewan as the road to the Grey Cup continues on the CFL on CBC. It was just about a year ago that Dave Ridgway delivered the Saskatchewan Roughriders to the Grey Cup. But this victory was preceded by a mediocre regular schedule. At this time last year, the Riders were .500 with 8 wins and 8 defeats. Kent Austin had staked a claim to the starting quarterback's job, and Saskatchewan went on to a 9-9 regular season finish. A year later, the Riders are on pace for the same finish. Once again, they're 8-8 with 2 games to go, but this time, John Gregory would prefer to win them both. 12 months ago, the Argos were floundering. They were 2 games below .500. Bob Obilovich may not have known it, but he was closing out his career as Argo head coach. And a couple of Argo players, quarterback Rick Johnson and running back Gil Fennerty, were closing out their CFL careers. This year, the Argos have turned the numbers around, and they figured their record would be even better if they had Matt Dunnigan for more than 8 games. He was injured again last week in the lopsided win. Today, Don Matthews expects the opposition to be a lot tougher. After that whipping in Toronto last week, the Saskatchewan Roughriders couldn't get home fast enough, and delighted they are to play the Argos today at Taylor Field, where home field really seems to mean something. There are still a number of possibilities for the order of finish in the West, and welcome to Regina, where the Roughriders want to use home field today to increase their chances of finishing in second place. They say their top gun, Kent Austin, is healthy for the first time in a month, and earlier today, Don and Ron, the Argos confirmed their quarterback of the day is John Congemi.
And Scott, that really doesn't come as any surprise because John Congemi performed well relieving Matt Dunnigan last week. He deserves a starting assignment today.
John Congemi earned it last week in the game against Saskatchewan. And the Saskatchewan Roughrider standpoint, he gives them an entirely different look than Matt Dunnigan. If they wait for John Congemi to win the game running, then they're in trouble. He is a heady quarterback. He's got to be able to throw the ball, make first downs, and move that football club by being smart. He's not the athlete that Dunnigan is, but he's a good quarterback.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders today hope to establish a running game, but they also want Kent Austin to throw the ball.
Yeah, I think we'll see more passing than running. You know, I know the coaches would like to run, but Kent Austin likes to throw the football. If you think back just a week ago, he had 5 passes dropped in the first half, so the quarterback takes the blame for that 59-15 loss. But Kent Austin will throw to Elgard and Narcisse a lot today.
The Toronto Argonauts already have second place in the East locked up. The Saskatchewan Roughriders still have a shot at second place in the West. Scott?
Well, Don, Darrell Smith of the Argos has had an extraordinary year catching the football. He'll join us on Live at the Half, and we'll get some reaction from the Calgary Stampeders, who won decisively at BC Place last night to improve their chances of finishing first in the West Division. You're watching the CFL on CBC, live from Taylor Field in Regina.
In Canada.
Nothing to do with the... Tonight.
I saw them stuff her in the trunk.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Molson Canadian. What beer's all about. By Priority Courier, the official courier of the CFL. And by Diet 7-Up. Challenge your taste.
Welcome back to Taylor Field in Regina. Don Matthews told his team he wanted them to be mentally prepared to deal with the win today at Taylor Field in Regina. It is not as strong as it can be at Taylor Field. Ken Lazaruk is the referee in charge this afternoon. He and other members of the officiating staff move into position as Hank Olisic prepares to kick off for the Toronto Argonauts. This will be the first game that Olisic has handled this chore. Last week, of course, it was his first game back in the CFL, and he handled the punting assignment for the Argos in that big victory over Saskatchewan. But he does have a tremendously strong leg, and in the past has also kicked off for the Argos, but they felt he needed a little more experience with that new type of kickoff formation before he took on that added responsibility. Driving it low along the ground, looking for that bouncing ball, and it goes to Orville Lee. Orville Lee gets a bit of a hole and returns it to the 47-yard line. Hank Olisic was the man in on the stop, a 22-yard return for Orville Lee.
Well, we talk about Ken Austin's going to throw the football, especially this quarter. Looks like he's got the wind in the first quarter. He's going to try to get as many points as he can. Last week, 3 interceptions against the Argonauts. And, of course, we talked about the drop passes. So when you put those 8 plays together, you see how fast a game can turn around in the other team's favor.
The ball between the 47 and 48. 1st and 10, Saskatchewan. Milson Jones, the ball carrier. Saskatchewan last week in that loss to the Argos had 10 yards rushing for the entire game.
Yeah, that's not good enough. 10 yards and 10 carries. I mean, if your team's going to average 1 yard a shot, you'll let them run all day. And Milson Jones was talking about that, and we have him as one of the keys. If they want to get the ball running, he's the guy to do it. No doubt Elgard and Narcisse are the 2 gunners, both over 1,000 yards. You've got to stop those 2 people to beat Saskatchewan.
2nd and 6, Saskatchewan. Draw play, and Lucius Floyd got back to the line of scrimmage, and that was about it. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders are 2 and out on their first offensive series under the direction of Kent Austin.
That's a little bit of a surprise to me to see him come out and run 2 plays with the wind at their back. I know Ken Austin wants to throw the football, but I guess maybe they're going to try to get that run game going, but they're going to need it in the second quarter. Maybe they need to see it now.
It's a fake punt, and the pass is complete on the sidelines to Stacey Hairston. He'll get the first down. There's a penalty flag on the play down at the 25-yard line.
That's like a sleeper play. I'm not sure that's a legal play.
A gain of 31 yards, and the penalty was against Toronto, so the gain will stand.
When I say it's not a legal play, well, they're going to see it. You see, they line up. Lozecki takes it, and out on the sideline, standing all by himself, is number 2, Stacey Hairston. The reason I say it's not legal is because there's substitutes made on the play, and that you have to be on the field for the play before is my interpretation, and I could be way off base, but that's my interpretation.
From the 28, 1st and 10, the pass is complete to Ray Algard. What a year he is having. He is stopped at the 20-yard line. That will be a gain of close to 8 yards.
Well, you think back to last week, the fake punt by the Argonauts got them going early in the game, and they won the football game. Now Toronto's moving. Don Wilson has to handle Elgard. Chris Gaines got to look after the run. Ed Barry gets Narcisse. If those 3 guys have big games for Toronto, then I think they can win it.
2nd and 2 for Saskatchewan. The ball is at the 21. Make that the 19-yard line. 2nd and 2, penalty flag. Milson Jones will be very close to a first down. But there could be a penalty call. So John Gregory uses some of the trickery that helped Don Matthews and the Toronto Argonauts get an early jump last week. And the penalty call against Toronto, an offside call.
The Toronto hold defensive line. First down, Saskatchewan.
So that will give the Roughriders a first down. The ball is positioned at the Toronto 14.
Well, you heard it here. 1st and 10, all on the 14.
Narcisse wide to the left. 3 receivers left. Austin looks left. Pass is intercepted by Carl Braisley. Braisley at one point was up to about the 17-yard line and then trying to maneuver for additional yardage. He was driven back to about the 10. They'll rule that he touched down actually at the 13.5, but that was a low throw, and Carl Braisley did quite a job in defending against it.
They went to an Argonaut formation, 3 receivers wide side, and he put Lucius Floyd in the slot to the short side. The Argonauts looked like they were having trouble getting lined up properly, and they threw the ball to the only guy that was in position to make the coverage, and that's Carl Braisley. So I think that's a quarterback mistake there. He picked the wrong guy. He had Floyd one-on-one with a linebacker, but elected to go somewhere else.
John Kangemi tosses the ball to Marriott. They ran the reverse with Marriott coming around, and Bobby Jurison was over there to make the tackle.
You know, we talked about John Kajemi in the opening, about how he's not the athlete that Dunnigan in the style of game he plays. It makes it easier for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They know where Kajemi's going to be, and they got a great pass rush. They know Kajemi's going to be somewhere in that pocket area. It helps the defense to know where the quarterback's going to be.
Toronto opens with a reverse to pick up 2. It's 2nd and 8. Kajemi will throw. The pass is complete to Clemens, and Clemens will be stopped short of a first down. Dan Rashovich was over there to make the tackle. He's the Saskatchewan nominee in the outstanding defensive player category. We had an interesting chat with Rashovich prior to the game, talking about his days with the Toronto Argonauts, and he said if he was still with Toronto, he probably would not be a starter because he would have had to beat out Don Moon for that starting linebacking position.
Yeah, you know, when they bring Rashovich in, they say, you know, well, Moon's been here a while, you know, he's slowing down, all that stuff, and you go in and you find out the guy's in his prime, he's playing well, and he's still playing well, and he is right. He would be backing him up.
Hank Olisic stands at his 8-yard line. The Roughriders will try and pressure Olisic. Here it comes, but he got the kick away. Albert Brown takes it at the 52, and Albert Brown is caught immediately by Keith Costello. 11:07 is the time remaining in a still scoreless opening quarter at Taylor Field. There are 2 other games in the CFL today on this next to last weekend of regular season play. In the second quarter, Ottawa leads Winnipeg 10-7. Reggie Barnes scoring the touchdown for Ottawa. Eric Streeter the touchdown for Winnipeg. 1st and 10 Saskatchewan from the 53. Kent Austin falls, and he'll be tagged back at the 51 of Saskatchewan.
I was having a hard time telling whether he was going back to pass or was he going to hand the ball off to Lucius Floyd on a draw. Doesn't matter. They lose about 8 yards, 6-7 yards with it anyhow. Coming back. Oh, he tripped over the lineman. It is a draw play. You saw the right guard, in that case it'd be Bob Poley, stepping to come around the block, and he tripped over Poley's ankle.
This is a milestone game for Bob Poley playing that right guard position. It is his 200th CFL game. Kent Austin has Ray Elgard open, and he could not hit him with the pass.
Well, that was a kind of an unusual pattern. They run it into the short side of the field, sprint to it. The wide receiver ran and out, and Elgard just came down. Watch him. He'll just give a little move to the outside to get outside of him, and then he just runs. And he went right by Carl Brazeley, but that ball sailed in the wind. Boy, he went by him easy.
10-14 remains in this opening quarter. Mike Lazecki stands back at his own 36-yard line for this 3rd down punt. The Riders, remember, ran a fake the first time they lined up in punt formation. This time Lazecki kicks it. Clemens goes back to his own 4-yard line before starting upfield, and he's downed at the 13 by Stacy Hairston. The 9-yard run back for Mike Clemens, who has already established a CFL record this season for all-purpose yards.
Well, when you watch him play when he's back on punts, you can just feel the excitement generated when the ball's in the air. That was a great catch. You know, when you talk about all-purpose yards, rushing, catching, passes, he had 259 yards last week. That's why we feel that anytime a guy does that on punts and kickoffs, you have to stop him. Everybody knows about Darrell Smith. Jeff Boyd made 4 catches last week, but 3 of them were in that key drive to set up that 100-yard drive that John Kajemi took him on.
Clemens, the ball carrier, and he fights his way up to the 19-yard line. Many coaches in the CFL at the start of the year, when they looked at the workload assigned Clemens, kickoff returns, punt returns, taking the ball on pitch outs as a pass receiver, running up the middle, and they looked at his size and his stature, they said, he won't last the season.
That's the big knock on him. And right here, we got Eddie Lowe down as one of the keys. He's going to be chasing Clemens around a lot today. But on that particular play, when Clemens went off tackle, Lowe hit him, and he almost got out of his grasp. Richie Hall had a tough day last week against Darrell Smith. And then Albright in the middle. We're going to look for him to come on a blitz a lot today. They're going to try to get that pressure up the middle on the quarterback. And that means the middle linebacker is going to come for one reason, and that's so the Toronto offensive line can't double up on the defensive linemen. So we look for Albright to have to play a big role in today's game.
Patience and understanding during a very stressful time.
The injured player is Chris Schultz.
You know, the sad part of that game with Richie Hall last week, he says he had a bad game. I'm only quoting him. I didn't think he played that poorly. All that happened, the size factor between him and Daryl Smith. When the ball was in the air, Daryl used that 6'2" height of his, and he just took the ball away from him. So in reality, it's a physical impossibility for him to stop him. You see Eddie Lowe coming to make the tackle. He gets the hit on him, but watch Clemens. He almost runs out of it, and that's what makes him so dangerous.
Eddie Lowe, David Albright, and Dan Rashovich, the linebackers for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, looking at 2nd and 4 with 9:14 remaining in this still scoreless opening quarter. The ball at the 19-yard line. Second man through on that counteraction is Clemens, and Clemens will be very close to a first down depending on where they position him.
As we said, Don, they like to put Clemens in the slot away from those 3 receivers. That time he starts to go up there, and then he backs up into a running position so that when Kangemi comes out, he can run that counter play with him, because that is one of their best running plays with Clemens, is pull guys like Schultz and those big offensive linemen and get him in behind them. But it's a giveaway, you know, if he lines up in the backfield, they look for him.
A lot of people were a little surprised that Clemens came off the Argo roster as their nominee for the Outstanding Player Award. Many thought it might go to Daryl Smith, who has established a league record for pass receiving touchdowns this year with 19. But when you look at what Clemens has done in all-purpose yardage, it really isn't a surprise.
Yeah, that's the difference. He does so many things, and he does them all well. Let's face it, he's not the leading rusher in the league. He's not the leading pass receiver. But when you put those kickoffs and punt returns with him, he's a very, very outstanding performer.
1st and 10, Toronto. The ball is at the 24-yard line. Kangemi throws to Daryl Smith. It's incomplete. You won't see Daryl Smith drop many passes of that nature.
Well, the big thing with Daryl Smith is that last week, you know, Daryl Smith doesn't have that really blazing speed. But watch him. He's got Richie Hall again taking him on. He's getting a little bit of help from Eddie Lowe. Eddie Lowe cuts in front, so Smith goes the other way. But watch his head. That head turned just as the ball arrived, which means he took his eye off of it. And when you take your eye off the football, you're going to drop it.
Daryl Smith, league record holder, will join us on Live at the Half. 2nd and 10. The Argos from the 24. Fake draw play. Clemens throwing over the middle. Incomplete. It was intended for Andrew Murray.
Well, that's a great defensive play by Dan Rastovich, who's running with the slot back. He's got a man-to-man underneath, and he's got somebody to help him from behind. But watch him cut right in front, get that right hand out to knock it down. There it is. Goes in front of Andrew Murray and gets that ball knocked down. That's good defense. And they're playing a little bit of that man-to-man underneath. You saw Eddie Lowe and the linebacker sitting in there watching the backs. That means Rastovich has to make that play.
Hank Olisic, when he punts, is a long strider, and that's one of the reasons the Saskatchewan Roughriders feel they can pressure him, particularly when he's kicking against the wind. Here comes that pressure again up the middle, but the Argos protected well. Albert Brown takes it at the midfield stripe. Albert Brown still on his feet. And he brought it back to the 43 before being stopped by Don Moan. 7:47 is the time remaining in this still scoreless opening quarter.
Place to be. I like your company. You always make me feel like me. I like your company.
New from GWG, the Great Western Garment Company jeans.
I like your company.
Yes, I've had to start watching TV with the sound off. With the other guys desperate to catch us, it's impossible to concentrate, which is why we've kept this message from Chrysler soft and clear. Chrysler and Jeep Eagle dealers are simply giving you GST savings now, so you don't have to wait till next year. Plus, we're offering incredible cashbacks or financing. Only one thing could be simpler.
How you doing?
Albert Brown did a lot of running to pick up 10 yards on that punt return. He was hurdling some of his own players as well as those wearing the white and blue of the Toronto Argonauts. A big effort by Albert Brown for a rather small return of 10 yards. 1st and 10, Saskatchewan from the Toronto 42. There's the toss to Ray Elgard on the reverse. And when the big guy gets up ahead of Steen, he's tough to bring down.
Especially for those defensive backs. You don't want those little defensive backs at 170 pounds coming up to stop a guy that's 225 pounds on the run. It gets a little painful. But again, we're seeing a lot of trick plays today. We've seen 2 reverses. This one works very well. When Elgard gets outside, there's nobody there. You see him just stiff-arm Chris Gaines. And Chris Gaines has had a great year. A good tackler, leading tackler of the Argonauts. He just shoved him down with that left hand.
A gain of 16 yards for the 6'3", 225-yard slot back. And this is Donald Narcisse. And he keeps his string intact, having caught a pass in each of the Saskatchewan Roughrider games this season.
Now this is a different approach. He's not really running a pattern. Let's just watch Narcisse run down the field. He'll just run down and stop, turn around and look for the football. No real movement. Here he goes on the right side. Now Elgard in the inside hooks, one-on-one outside. He just stops dead. He didn't go in, he didn't hook, he didn't run it out. He just found an open area and let Austin find him.
First down.
1st and goal from the 5-yard line, 6:46 remaining in the opening quarter. Milson Jones stopped at the line of scrimmage. Milson Jones has quite a string of game-winning touchdowns this year in the season opener. Milson Jones had that game-winning touchdown run against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And Milson Jones had a game-winning touchdown run here against the BC Lions late in the ball game, and he had another game-winning touchdown run against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Well, maybe that's why they only rushed for 10 yards last week. They weren't in a position to win it, so they didn't give Milson the ball.
Austin looking into the end zone for Boyko, penalty flag on the play, and it could be that Reggie Pleasant was called for fouling Greg Harris.
Well, I think you can call 2. I think that for sure Carl Brazeley had hold of...
Forward pass interference. Toronto number 7. 1st down, Saskatchewan.
They both had him by the jersey, and you could see the jersey stretch on both of the Rider receivers as they were trying to get away from the defensive back. But watch right there. You see Pleasant knock down Harris, and you see Brazeley had a hold of that 1 and 5 on Boyko's jersey and pull him back.
So it will be 1st and goal, this time from the 1-yard line. Kent Austin keeps, and they signal a touchdown. Well, this is certainly a different start to the ball game than a week ago at the Sky Dome, where they fell behind 21-0 early.
Yeah, they got down 21-0 at the half. I mean, they hadn't done anything that first half, and John Gregory explained it that the problem was they dropped some balls on 2nd down that would have kept drives alive. This time they get it down there and they get an interference call, and then Austin puts it in the end zone from 1 yard out. So that's the way you like to start against the Argonauts, or anybody. You want to score first.
David Ridgway with the point after, and with 5:48 remaining in the quarter, the Saskatchewan Roughriders lead by a score of 7-0. The Roughriders have hopes of finishing 2nd. If they wind up in a tie with the Edmonton Eskimos, they would finish 2nd and get home field advantage for the semifinal on the basis of having won 2 of 3 from Edmonton this season.
Yeah, that's why the games are so important. You know, they have to be wondering what's going on. They needed some help last night from the BC Lions against Calgary in order to have a hope of finishing 1st. Well, that vanished. So now they have to hope that the Eskimos can lose 1 while they win 2. If they do, they finish 2nd and get a playoff game right here.
Don Matthews, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. Matthews with a CFL coaching record of 68-35-1. John Gregory has a record of 33-36-1. Mike Clemens from his 11-yard line on this kickoff return. He doesn't need much room. He fumbles the football. Fortunately for Clemens, it was at the sidelines, and Paul Nastasiuk was able to hit it before it went out of bounds. A 24-yard run back, and the Toronto Argonauts retain possession. They will scrimmage from their own 35-yard line.
Well, they need to make some first downs. They need to move this ball against the wind, and 5 minutes left. If they would put together a very methodical kind of a drive with John Kangemi, that can pretty well eat up 5 minutes. They've only got the one first down so far, so if the longer your offense is out there, the better it'll become. So they haven't been out there very long.
Ricky Foggy and Willie Gillis are the backups to John Kangemi. Last week, of course, it was Matt Dunnigan who started for the Toronto Argonauts in that lopsided victory, 59-15. Paul Masadi goes wide to the left. Randy Marriott to the right. This is a reverse with Darrell Smith. And that's a first down, taking the ball to midfield.
This is like a can you top this? If you run a reverse, we'll run a reverse. And that time Darrell Smith you want to take this wide, but he had no chance. He had to cut back inside. Watch when he comes around. Watch how deep some green jerseys are over there. So he cuts inside of it, and you see Gary Lewis can't stop him, and he picks up 20 yards, gets in behind the blocking number 54, Blaine Schmidt.
A gain of 20, first and 10 for the Argos. They are at midfield. They trail 7-0. Kevin Smelly takes the handoff for a pickup of 2. There's a penalty flag in the play. This could be a holding call. Right now, let's bring in Scotto.
Don, the second quarter in Ottawa, the Riders have taken a 10-point lead over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. David Williams, who's had a so-so year, comes up big with the touchdown catch here on a pass from Damon Allen, a 47-yard play. The Riders lead Winnipeg 17-7 now, and as you know, Ottawa is fighting Hamilton for that final playoff spot in the East Division, so they need to win today.
They are tied with Hamilton, and the Hamilton Ticats later this afternoon will visit Commonwealth Stadium to take on the Edmonton Eskimos, a team really struggling, having lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, things just aren't happy up at the Igloo, that's for sure. So it's a big game for them. They need to get on track. They still have a good football team, a good club, everything's there, but they're really struggling right now.
At the 45, it will be a repeat of the first down, this time with 20 yards to go. And Jemmy's pass is complete to Andrew Murray, and Murray picks up 6 yards.
Jemmy's pass complete to Andrew Murray.
Yeah, Jeff Boyd, number 80, outside as the wide receiver. They wanted him to go out and then go down the sideline, try to hit him in the hole behind the corner. He slipped. So Kangemi has to come off the Murray, and you wonder, on a 1st and 20, he only gets 5. That's the reason for it. He wasn't the primary receiver.
It'll be 2nd and 14.
2nd and 14. Kangemi throwing, and it's intercepted by Albert Brown. And Brown is down, and there's a penalty flag in the play as well, and Kangemi is also down. He took a hit just as he threw that football. One that Albert Brown intercepted with 4:03 remaining in the quarter.
Cup 90 in Vancouver. Don't miss it.
If there's one word you have to feel a little sorry for these days, it's the word value. It seems everyone's out to give it some new meaning, and it's getting to the point where people aren't even sure what value means anymore. Well, at Swiss Chalet, we still think it's made up of 2 simple things. It's about getting food so good you can't help but crave it, at a price so little, you can't help but love it. Swiss Chalet. Never so good for so little.
I fall to pieces.
When your car's original parts start to fall apart, choose Motomaster, Canada's #1 selling replacement parts. Here's a bit of information those other guys would rather we didn't leak out. For corrosion protection, more Canadians trust MotoMaster antifreeze than any other brand. MotoMaster, Canada's #1 selling antifreeze.
John Kangemi taking a hit as he threw that pass, and Kangemi, unfortunately, has had a history of not being the most durable athlete in the world. Ricky Foggy missed one game, suffering a finger injury on October 13th in a game against Winnipeg. This was the interception, the pass intended for Masati, picked off by Albert Brown.
Well, we'll take a look at Kangemi. Look, I think he's going to take one right in the chin.
On the 53.
Bobby Jurison, when you get around and you get the quarterback high, hit the quarterback's high, and he gets that helmet right under his chin, and John was holding it. I think he cut it.
Nelson Jones, the ball carrier, for a gain of 10. And on that one run, Nelson Jones gets more yardage than the Roughriders had in the entire game along the ground a week ago.
Well, we see John Kangemi, they're checking that chin. I think he cut it underneath. But Jurison comes in and does what a defensive lineman should. Don't hit the quarterback low. He still throws the ball with authority. Come up high, get those arms wrapped. He wrapped the arms in that helmet, gets right under that face mask, and it hurts a little bit.
Austin had it knocked away by Darrell Ford. It was intended for Ray Elgard. It will be 2nd and 10. Scott?
Well, Don, I'm not a doctor, but it looks to me as though John Kangemi is going to have to go to the locker room and get this nasty gash on his chin stitched up. That's the extent of the injury. He seems to be okay otherwise, so he'll likely be out at least until he's had this cut tended to.
He had a nasty injury here at Taylor Field in his rookie season on what many considered a late hit by James Curry.
Yeah, he doesn't have fond memories of this place.
From the shotgun, Austin throws to Orville Lee, and he's caught immediately by Don Moan.
Well, you talk about, Rasevich was saying about why Don, he'd still be behind Don Moan. There's a good example. The Argonauts drop back in a deep zone on 2nd down and about 15, and all of a sudden, they throw it underneath, and Moan comes up and takes on a back like Orville Lee and makes the tackle in open field. You don't do it any better.
Don Moan was the Argo nomination for Outstanding Canadian Player. He'll be contesting that award in the East against Brickhouse of Winnipeg, Patrick Wayne of Ottawa, and Paul Osbaldiston of Hamilton. He holds the CFL record for points in a single season. Dave Ridgway has designs on surpassing that 233 total, and he'll do it if he continues kicking like that. Another field goal for Dave Ridgway, now just one away from the league record.
Well, we know this, that he can reach it with no wind. He has the wind at his back. The ball went through by about 20 yards. So you're really never out of field goal range once you cross that center stripe with Dave Ridgway.
2:26 remaining in the opening quarter. It's 10-0. The Saskatchewan Roughriders leading, and Ricky Foggy is going to come in to play quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts.
Now, look at this touchdown to interception, 17-5. Now, that's on the year. Now, this is the problem with Ricky Foggy. He sprained that finger in that game before, and he had to sit out. But they've made this special brace for it, and they have it bent so that it'll fit around the football. So we'll see how well he can throw. He's throwing well in pregame warm-up.
1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Foggy escapes the initial pressure, does throw the ball on the sidelines. The catch is made by Boyd, but he was out of bounds.
Don, we saw those statistics a minute ago on Foggy, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The surprising part, though, with the Argonauts, it's 15 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. So since he has come down or come east to play for the Argonauts, he has really played well, and right away we see the difference in Kangemi and Foggy. Watch him run away from trouble. Now Albright has to go chase him, and this guy will tire out a defensive line in the course of a game.
2nd and 10 from the 35. Saskatchewan leads 10-0. The Argos with the football. Foggy will put it in the air again, or he'll run it. This is the dimension he adds to the Toronto Argonauts that makes them so exciting and so dangerous from any position on the field.
Yeah, John Kangemi couldn't do that. I mean, he may have gained 5 or 6 yards going upfield, but as we said, Ricky Foggy is an exciting quarterback. He plays like Matt Dunnigan, 65 yards on that. When he came up through the middle, he kind of lulled Dave Albright and the other linebacker to sleep, and then he just burst, and he was gone. You see that average rush, 10.6 a carry. Watch him now as he comes up through. He's not really sprinting. He's looking right here. He decides it's time to go. He runs outside of Albright, and the surprising part is watch him run through a lot of people before Albert Brown comes a long way back. Right here, looks like he's going to score, but Albert Brown, Foggy's tiring out a little. Brown has a little too much speed.
Foggy made his presence felt in his very first game, August 27th at Edmonton, when he replaced Tom Porras halfway through the fourth quarter and threw for a convincing 204 yards on 7 completions, 3 of them for Toronto Majors. From inside the 25-yard line, the Toronto Argonauts are ahead of the league average in producing points. They have operated at 59% efficiency. Paul Nastasiuk is the injured Toronto Argonaut. 1:11 is the time remaining in the opening quarter. It's 10-0. The Saskatchewan Roughriders lead the Toronto Argonauts. John Kangemi injured, replaced by Ricky Foggy. John Kangemi now heading off to the Toronto dressing room. Paul Nastasiuk, fortunately, is going to get up, and he will be able to walk off, it would appear, to the Toronto bench. There's John Kangemi.
Well, not only go in and get his chin stitched or whatever they're going to do to him, give him a chance for his head to clear. You catch that helmet flush on the chin as he did, you know, it does, you start to see a few birds fly around and wonder where you're at for a while. So this will give him a chance to come back to normal. You know, the thing is that we talk about the Argonauts being above average scoring down inside. Saskatchewan has allowed Toronto down inside at 25 7 times, and the Argonauts have scored 5 touchdowns. So against Saskatchewan, they're way above average.
The Toronto Argonauts share with Winnipeg the distinction of having the best road record in the CFL. They are 4-4. End zone pass intended for Jeff Boyd. Incomplete. Larry Hogue thought he had an interception. Ricky Foggy threw that ball into triple coverage.
That's a tough place to throw the football. The reason for it, the wide receiver runs an out pattern. Now, in this case, the next guy in, Boyd, goes down and goes to the flag. Well, as soon as you throw the ball, they converge on him. Now, he does get pushed a little bit, but watch who comes back. Here comes Albert Brown. Here's Larry Hogue. Could have been interference, but the ball would not have been catchable to Jeff Boyd. It was thrown behind him, but you're asking for trouble to throw into that coverage.
The Argos from the shotgun. Ricky Foggy at control. This is a draw play, and Ricky Foggy is going to be stopped short. Bobby Jurison made the tackle at the 3-yard line. Don Matthews calls for the field goal unit.
Well, you can see that right away. On the snap back to Foggy, both guards pulled. It was a trap up the middle, and then Foggy just tries to find a way to go. But the problem is they couldn't get anybody out on that middle linebacker.
John Gregory shouting instructions to his defensive team.
Probably wondering about a fake. I mean, it's been that kind of day. Everything we've seen reverses and a fake punt.
Paul Masati will hold for Lance Chomik. And Lance Chomik puts it through. And that comes on the final play of the opening quarter. The Toronto Argonauts with an 11-yard field goal by Lance Chomik. They trail by 7. We'll return with the second quarter after this.
Here she comes tearing up the street. Tight curves and she moves so sweet. Come on, baby, turn up the heat. It's a look you just can't beat. Looking good to me. Looking good. Looking good. Looking good. Looking good to you.
It's new. Speed Stick deodorant now has its most powerful combination of ingredients ever. Its stronger new formula delivers more defense against odor. It has no alcohol. Its protection doesn't fade. Speed Stick, new stronger formula.
Nothing's rougher on a man's face than shaving. That's why there's Skin Bracer. It's more than an aftershave. It soothes, cools, tightens pores, so it's good for your skin.
Thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By men.
Magic Wagon for 1991.
The evolution of the minivan is now complete. Chrysler, all you have to do is drive one.
With the wind at his back, Hank Olisic is certainly capable of putting this one into the end zone. Albert Brown starts slowly out of the end zone. For a moment, it looked as though he was going to concede a single point, and he brings it back to the 13-yard line. And that's one of the reasons Hank Olisic is kicking off for the Argos.
That's what they wanted. They want that guy to kick that ball deep, and they put a little bit of doubt in the receiver. Do I give him the point? I think he should have.
One turnover by each side. Not a great discrepancy in net yards. The Argos, mainly on the strength of that 65-yard run by Ricky Foggy, have an edge over the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who lead by a 10-3 margin. The Riders now back at their own 13-yard line, 1st and 10. This is another reverse, this time with Bruce Boyko, and he got back to the line of scrimmage and maybe a yard or two beyond before being upset. But that's 3 times now we have seen teams run that reverse.
Yeah, Don Wilson played that one very well. He sat back in there, and when the play went away, he just stood there and waited for Boyko to come back and cut the legs out from under him. But you can almost bet on this. If you have a reverse, you have a reverse pass. Now, I don't know where we'll see it, but every team has it. I mean, it's just a normal sequence of plays.
From the shotgun on 2nd and 8, the pass is complete, but they got back to the line of scrimmage. Lucius Floyd was stopped in his tracks by Reggie Pleasant and Carl Brazelin.
What they try to do is they take Lucius Floyd out of the backfield, put him to the 3 receiver side in a wide formation as far as you can get him, and then that gets Elgard sometimes single coverage inside. This time he had to hold the ball and dump it off, and here comes the heat. I believe it's Robert Smith playing that defensive end spot. Coach Matthews talked about him yesterday at the press conference, figured he's going to be a real factor one of these days because he's got not only the speed, but size at about 6'7".
He's replacing Keith Browner, who is absent to attend his mother's funeral.
Drop it.
Clemens chasing down that punt, and it goes out of bounds. No opportunity for a run back as the ball bounced out at the midfield stripe. Scott?
Don, the Argo offense will play the rest of this half without veteran offensive tackle Chris Schultz. He's on the bench in considerable pain from a sprain of both his right knee and his ankle. It happened on the same play, and they're waiting to see if it settles down. They may try and put him in the second half. In the meantime, Jim Kardash gets a chance to play in his place.
Jim Kardash, out of the University of Western Ontario, signed with the Argos as a free agent back in May of 1986 after initially being a draft choice of Montreal. Ricky Foggy on 1st down, throws incomplete, looking for Andrew Murray. Murray was one of many Argos who suffered from an attack of the flu that ran through the Argo camp a week ago. There's a roughing the passer call, it would appear, against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Or is it a holding call? It looks as though it's a holding call.
Holding. Toronto number 63. 1st down repeated.
Talked about Jim Kardash, and he's the victim of that holding infraction, taking the Argos into a 2nd and 10 situation. No, pardon me, 1st and 20. I'll get it sorted out finally. 13:07 remaining in the half. Again from the shotgun. Foggy to the sidelines over the head of the intended receiver Paul Massotti.
Well, he went to the right receiver. He had no one open inside. It's just that when you throw it that far with the wind, it has a tendency to sail. And the best part about it, he was only going to get about on the catch 12 yards. He didn't try to get it all back at once. That's why he was open. Saskatchewan was sitting deep.
Foggy has yet to complete a pass in 3 attempts on 2nd and 20. Seems almost certain that he'll be trying to throw the ball. Fakes the draw play, throws deep. He's got a receiver open, and this is a touchdown for Randy Marion.
All that happened on a play, Saskatchewan went into that two-deep zone look again with man underneath, and when Darrell Smith went down the seam, he's the big gun for him. Richie Hall left his deep position to cover Darrell Smith, and Marriott went right down the sidelines, and Foggy laid it in there. 64-yard touchdown. If you're going to complete one and get your first completion, that's not bad. All right, well, watch to the top of the screen. Top right, you'll see number 1, and watch number 7 in the green jersey coming to cover him. There he is, and right outside where he should be sitting is Marriott, all by himself.
That's the 71st touchdown the Toronto Argonauts have. 72nd touchdown they've scored this year.
They've had a tremendous year, and they scored 71 of them in 16 games. That's the secret.
Lance Chomick adds the point after, and this game is tied at 10 with 12:31 remaining in the first half.
Today, Kenny Smith and Super Dave Osborne will be comparing the Nike Airflight Lite with the Super Dave Spring Shoe.
Good luck, Benny.
Kenny.
We got steel covered with genuine Saskatchewan salmon skin for real safety. Unbeatable.
The Airflight Lite is the lightest Nike basketball shoe on earth.
These shoes feature ambient tungsten steel springs. Tremendous safety.
This is the lightest Nike basketball shoe on earth.
Well, let's check it out. Fantastic!
You hear the ambient tungsten steel springs? At the count of 10, I'll be going through the roof.
Hey, nice billboard.
Isn't it apparent that I need assistance? I think I just broke my brain.
Well, of course you did. You decide, the lightest Nike basketball shoe on earth or a broken brain.
I think I'm going to pass on the other two dunks.
I don't want you running my life.
Carrie's mom moves in, and Leon wants out.
I've decided to move to Ottawa.
And Chuck fights to save his son's life.
Hi, Tiger. How you doing?
Who are you?
Street Legal, Friday. When a ranch hand meets a big city girl,
I'm proposing that we get married.
Is it true love?
You work here, I pay you, and that's it.
Or just a partnership? Getting Married in Buffalo Jump, November 4th on the CBC Sunday Night Movie.
The Toronto Argonauts have been a big play team for much of the season. They strike quickly 64 yards away. Ricky Foggy throwing to Marriott, and this game is tied at 10 as Orville Lee takes the kickoff at his own 13-yard line, and he is hit by Keith Kelly at the 20.
Lined him up and went right after him. No hesitation, nothing. Limits to a 10-yard return. The reason a 10-yard return, Alisic really put that up in the air. A lot of hang time on the kickoff allows that covering team to get down there, and Kelly made no mistake.
We asked Don Matthews yesterday about the acquisition of Hank Alisic and what he provided to the Argos that Glenn Harper did not. He said more leg strength.
Well, we've seen it on the last two kickoffs. One for distance, one for height.
First and 10 from the 22. Austin is looking for Elgard. It's knocked away by Carl Brazeley.
You saw Elgard start to break into the open area, right down the hash marks. Austin made the good throw over the linebackers, but Brazeley made a better defensive play.
Second and 10, Saskatchewan from the 22.
Look at it, watch him dive. Gets around him, comes around him, doesn't hit him, gets it left hand, knocks it down. Good defense.
Second and 10, 11:54 remaining in the half from the shotgun. Kent Austin gets away from Holman. Throws to the sidelines for Milson Jones, incomplete. Don Moen got a hand on the ball.
I don't think he really cared that pass was incomplete. He threw it very, very hard at Milson Jones, who was only like 10 yards away. But the big thing he didn't want to do, he had nowhere to run. He didn't want to take the sack, so he just threw it hard and ends up incomplete.
They are still examining and retaping the right ankle of Chris Schultz, the Argos offensive tackle. He has been replaced by Jim Kardash. Mike Lezecki stands back at his own 7-yard line. Not a particularly good kick, and it goes out of bounds at the 52.5. 11:23 is the time remaining in the half. The Toronto Argonauts with second place wrapped up behind Winnipeg. The Bombers having already clinched first place. The battle for third place between Hamilton and Ottawa. Ottawa leading Winnipeg this afternoon. Hamilton later today will play the Edmonton Eskimos at Commonwealth Stadium. In the West, the Saskatchewan Roughriders can forget about first place. They can still overhaul Edmonton for second place. Even if they wind up in a tie with Edmonton, they would finish in second place. Ricky Foggy won't get a chance to throw. Chuck Klingbeil, perhaps the strongest player in the CFL, a power lifter of some note, makes the sack back at the 50-yard line.
You know, we talked a little while ago about keys and why Dave Albright would be a key. They want him to come on a blitz because they don't feel Toronto's offensive line can take their people on one-on-one. Right here you saw Klingbeil split Jim Cardish and Dan Ferrone. Once he gets a step on, he's too strong. They can't pull him down unless they do tackle him, and he just comes in and makes the sack.
2nd and 17 from the shotgun. Foggy's going for the bundle again to the sidelines. Incomplete, intended for Randy Marriott. The same type of pattern they ran on the touchdown throw, with Marriott this time covered by Stacey Hairston.
It's exactly the same pattern. The only difference is Saskatchewan was in a man-to-man coverage that time. That means that man, Stacey Hairston, has him wherever he goes. If he goes up in the stands, you go with him. In a zone, you don't. But look, he's stride for stride. Almost an excellent catch by Marriott. He got it on the fingertips, but again, Hairston had him covered.
Hank Ilisic will be kicking with the wind for the first time, standing at his own 35-yard line. Came out of St. Joseph's High School in Edmonton to play professional football with the Eskimos. What a career he has had. Orville Lee waits for the kick, gets away from Keith Kelly, and spins his way out to the 37-yard line with 10:01 remaining in the half. This game is tied at 10.
In Canada,
Saskatchewan's Roger Aldag. Game in, game out, Roger Aldag continues to be the inspirational leader of the Roughriders O-line. The veteran guard played an amazing game opening holes and protecting his quarterback during Saskatchewan's 29-24 triumph over the Edmonton Eskimos. Roger Aldag, CFL Priority Courier Lineman Player of the Week.
We're cameras to take great pictures.
The Ottawa Roughriders a week ago handed the Winnipeg Blue Bombers their first home field loss of the season, 27-20, and at halftime at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa this afternoon, Ottawa leads Winnipeg by a score of 20-8. Kent Austin's pass knocked down, almost intercepted by Reggie Pleasant.
Remember, if we think back to when Toronto tried to throw that ball in the end zone, we said you're throwing into trouble when you throw it to the corner, especially when that corner and that man, Reggie Pleasant's just standing there. So when that ball's thrown, he steps in front. He just couldn't catch it.
Well, with Halloween coming up, he has his mask and is ready to do a little trick or treating. Draw play with Milson Jones.
Ball carriers 32.
Will be close to a first down, depending upon where they spot it. It may require a measurement.
Big thing about Milson Jones is he always seems to run into a big pile of people and move the entire pile. And that in that particular situation, that's what's going to get him close enough to have this measured, and he does make the first down. They don't even measure it, but that's the thing. He was hit 2 yards back, but he moved everybody forward and fell down and got the first down.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 47. 8:51 remaining in the half. Draw play this time with Lucius Floyd. There is also a penalty flag on the play.
Carrying the ball, there's a flag on the play.
A holding call against Saskatchewan will bring this one back. And it will be 1st and 20 as Don Matthews signals that he wants it taken back. That's the first penalty call this afternoon
holding
against the Roughriders.
Saskatchewan number 66. First down repeated.
The holding call against center Mike Anderson. His father Paul played with Saskatchewan a few years back.
see Harold Hallman, number 70, being held right in the middle, and the referee stands right behind him and calls it.
Kent Austin under pressure, and he went down with Robert Smith just about to deliver a blow.
You know, we talked about the speed and the size. At 6'7" and about 270 pounds, and he is moving. He came from the wide side of the field to run Kent Austin down, and he could not run away from that man.
One of many outstanding athletes who have come out of the Grambling football program.
That's a great football score. Excellent.
From the shotgun, handoff to Nelson Jones. He was tripped up by Harold Hallman. Got back to the line of scrimmage and not much further. A couple of years ago at the CFL convention held in Nashville, I had an opportunity to visit with Eddie Robinson, who did such a great job at Grambling and developing so many players over the years.
Like an institution. He seemed like, you know, I followed football for many, many years. It's the only guy I ever remember at Grambling. And they've had great teams and great players over the year. And he's a retired coach. That's who he is. He was a coach for, it seemed like 100 years. He finally retired.
Mike Lazecki stands at his own 20-yard line, 7:36 remaining in the half. 10-10 is the score. 59-15, the Argos won last week. Don Wilson came almost untouched up the middle, but Lazecki was able to get the kick away. The ball picked up by Braisley at the 50-yard line. He and Clemens both had an opportunity to handle it. Braisley grabbed it. There's a penalty flag in the play, but right now let's bring in Scott.
Well, Don Matthews said yesterday you can't make a living if Darrell K. Smith has to make 7 30-yard catches a game, and that may be, but you have to wonder where the Argos would be without Smith's 1,700 yards. And Darrell K. Smith will join us on Live at the Half. And on the road to the Grey Cup, we'll get reaction from the Stampeders on their big win at BC Place last night, a win that has them feeling very much like a first-place football team. Don?
He was lying on him from the beginning of play.
John Gregory saw his team assessed a rough play penalty, and that moves the ball to the Saskatchewan 44, where it's 1st and 10 Toronto. Dan Rashovich was called on the foul. Foggy throwing deep to the sidelines, incomplete, penalty flag, interference on Darrell Smith. There's also a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage. Darrell Smith was interfered with down in the vicinity of the 15-yard line. It appears as though Richie Hall was the guilty party. Let's watch it.
Well, this is the matchup you want. Darrell Smith trying to go down, out, and then turn upfield. Now, as he tries to come back inside, Richie Hall, that right hand hooked around his waist, he pulls the jersey. Now, the official on the sideline couldn't see it.
Roughing the passer, 39 Saskatchewan. Forward pass interference, number 7 Saskatchewan. 1st down Toronto.
Well, those 3 penalties have really hurt the Roughriders. A rough play call, interference, and now a roughing the passer. 3 consecutive penalties. And the Toronto Argonauts are 1st and goal. The ball is at the 8-yard line.
Haven't run a successful play, and they've moved about 60 yards. They got a rough play, a roughing call, and interference, and they're in scoring territory.
Ricky Foggy couldn't find a receiver, now looks into the end zone for Darrell Smith. He was well covered by Larry Ho.
You saw him scramble to his left. He did a heck of a job avoiding trouble. If he would have been able to turn around, he had Kevin Smelly standing in the end zone, no one anywhere near him. But when you're running for your life, you don't think to look back. All you want to do is find someone to get rid of the football. He threw it out of bounds. We said Dave Albright would be blitzing. You saw 42 come in, and then Albright is a little bit too late. You can't come in and hit a quarterback like that at all.
2nd and goal from the 8-yard line. This time, Foggy rolls out of there. He has a convoy in front of him. He'll score.
That looked like run all the way, just the way it was set up. You saw Mike Clemens, 31, in the backfield. As he swung out on the snap, it looked like he was just a personal protector. It seems strange to have a guy 5'5" as a personal protector, but he certainly wasn't looking to catch the ball. Watch number 31 as he's coming out of there. Foggy's got the ball in his hands like he's looking to pass, but Mike Clemens never does turn around, and he goes downfield, throws a block for him, and Foggy takes it into the end zone.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts, if they hadn't been forced to play 4 games against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this year, might have first place in the East locked up. They lost all 4 games to Winnipeg. Lance Chomick converts Ricky Foggy's touchdown. 6:23 remains in the half.
Here's the promise. It's a guarantee.
Listings.
Although she's wearing a Saskatchewan Roughrider cap, that lady has a game souvenir from Toronto quarterback Ricky Foggy. He presented her with the football after scoring the touchdown on the 8-yard run.
I don't know. If you're wearing green and white, you should give it back, right? Isn't that the way they hit the baseballs in the stands? They throw them back?
At Wrigley Field in Chicago, they certainly do. Hank Alisic with the kickoff taken by Jeff Treflin at the 10-yard line. Good tackle by Alisic.
Just looked like he was going to break it, and all of a sudden, Alisic looks like he's been taking tackling practice. 34-yard return, but a great tackle to save even better field position.
Let's take another look at Ricky Foggy's touchdown from our reverse angle camera.
All right, you see Ferrone pulling, Schmidt pulling, and they're going run all the way. They're not even slowing down. There you see Clemens throw the block. Foggy goes in.
1st and 10 Saskatchewan. The Roughriders at their own 41.5. There's the pitch to Lucius Floyd. Floyd tries to cut back and manages to turn that into a gain of about 3 when it looked as though he was going to be trapped for a loss.
Trapped for a loss, almost lost the football as he was cutting back. It was knocked loose. He held much of a gain.
The Argos lead 17-10 with 5:39 remaining in this first half. At one point, the Saskatchewan Roughriders led 10-0. Greg Harris goes wide to the left. Here's Elgard in motion towards the line of scrimmage. Austin throwing over the middle, and Elgard is stopped right at the 50-yard line, short of a first down by about a yard.
I think they'll have to go for it. Right now, you don't want to punt it. They haven't punted very well into the wind. It's less than a yard or a yard. All right, let's take a look. You see Narcisse on the left, Elgard inside. Narcisse drives to the post. You see Elgard try to more or less pick that linebacker covering, and when he couldn't do it, he just turns in front, and they throw the ball to him, and he makes the catch.
Tony Rice comes into the backfield for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as Lucius Floyd goes out. They line up in punt formation.
Yeah, better watch Tony Rice.
Could this be a direct snap to Tony Rice? Jeff Treflin in motion. Stacey Hairston in motion. And Mike Lazecki is going to kick it. Clemens takes it at the 30-yard line. Looks for some blocking help. It doesn't form going right, so he cuts back to his left and returns the ball to the 41. Tackled there by John Hoffman.
They put Tony Rice in there. You know he's in there for a reason. They have to have something with Tony Rice handling the ball. Evidently, the defense wasn't what they wanted, so they just go ahead, bring those guys in, block, and punt it. 12-yard return, and he earned every yard of that one. Made 3 or 4 good moves and finally ran into John Hoffman.
It appeared as though John Gregory had something called on that 3rd down play, but you heard a lot of shouting and yelling at the line of scrimmage. And when you saw Jeff Treflin and Stacey Hairston go in motion and move back to set up the block, the Toronto Argonauts obviously were prepared to defend against whatever Saskatchewan may have called.
Yeah, they didn't like the look, that's for sure, so they changed that in a hurry.
Ricky Foggy dancing away from the pressure, being pursued now and throwing complete to Massotti, close to a first down at the 51.
That was a heck of an effort by Paul Massotti, running to his right, just reaches back with that left hand and pulls it in. Foggy was running for his life. There was nobody else open, and it wasn't until it looked like he was going to threaten the line of scrimmage that enabled Massotti to find a hole, but it was a good catch on his part.
Ricky Foggy with those 7 touchdown passes on September 29th against the Hamilton Ticats. He didn't have that type of pressure when he threw those 7 TD passes a month ago.
No, he sure did. He worked hard for that 10-yard gain.
Mike Clemens, the ball carrier. And Clemens will only get 2 on that toss. He tried to get in behind a couple of blockers, and when he does get in behind those blockers, he's tough to pick up.
Yeah, you can't see him. But, you know, what you're talking about earlier, Don, you know, with his size, taking those kind of hits right there. I mean, there's 3 or 4 green jerseys landed on him, and everybody figured he's going to be injured. He won't last the season, but there he is. Game 17, set a record, still going strong.
Closing in on 3,000 yards, all-purpose yards, and he has missed 2 games of the regular schedule. Here comes the blitz. Oh, Foggy fumbled the football. Who's got it? Richie Hall was blitzing, and Dan Ratchovich came up with the football. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders take over with 3:03 remaining in the half. Saskatchewan came with a halfback blitz on that last play, and Toronto did not pick it up. Richie Hall had a clear shot at Ricky Foggy, stripped him of the football, and the Riders have recovered at the Toronto 48-yard line. Austin's pass is complete to Greg Harris for a first down at the 29.
I was just looking down on the field, number 90, Robert Smith, coming from that defensive end position, coming from the left side. He gets caught way inside, and he's banging his helmet. He's supposed to be out here containing, but he's not. That allows Austin to get those shoulders turned upfield, and he throws a strike to Harris, who found a big hole in the Argonauts secondary. But he was banging his head. He knew he had to be out there, and he wasn't there that play.
First and 10 quickly inside, and that hit Elgard in the back.
Austin reads the blitz. He saw the blitz coming, no underneath help. He just raises up, pops it over the line to him. Elgard, on the other hand, decided to go deep, so you have a miscommunication. Watch. See, he sees the linebacker. There he goes, Brazeley on a halfback blitz. Austin says, I'll just dump it. Elgard didn't look.
Ball on the 29.
What is the receiver's responsibility in that play?
Look for the football. If that halfback that's guarding you goes across your vision, you look for the football because it should be coming. Austin was right, Elgard was wrong. Now everybody will say, yeah, you stick up for the quarterbacks.
Austin on second and 10, over the middle to David Pitcher, first down at the 15.
Well, that was a great catch. In traffic, nice hand, shows you nice hands. The ball's there and he just gets those hands and squeezes it right in traffic.
You know, he only had 1 year of minor football as a wide receiver.
Yeah, well, he's tall enough to be one. He's got good speed, but watch the catch in traffic. Gets it in those hands, pulls it in, so Wilson can't knock it away from him.
Played junior football with the Okanagan Sun. A couple of good receivers have come out of that organization. Jay Christensen of BC and Pitcher. Into the end zone, way over the head of Ray Elgard. Dave Van Bellingham, the safety, was the closest man to it.
He had to get rid of the football. He had the pressure on him, and he couldn't throw it inside because they weren't in man coverage. He just threw it deep where nobody would be able to catch it. Doesn't take the sack, it doesn't take the hit.
2:05 remaining in the half. The clock is running. Pardon me, it has stopped with 2:05 remaining with the incomplete pass. The Riders have only been able to convert 2 of 9 second down attempts. Pass is incomplete, in and out of the hands of Lucius Floyd.
From up here, from where we're standing, Don, he took his eyes off of it. We said Darrell Smith did early in the game. This time, that ball is right there, and he turned his head to run before he caught the football.
So David Ridgway will enter the ball game to attempt a field goal.
Watch it, the ball. That head is turning before the ball is in the hands, and you can't run till you catch it. You hear that all the time, you know, in baseball, football, it doesn't matter, and it applies. You've got to look it into the hands.
David Ridgway with this field goal has equaled his CFL record of 55, established in 1988. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders trail by just 4 points, 1:57 remaining in the half. Ridgway with 2 field goals today. 47 yards and 22 yards, his 3-point attempts. Good crowd at Taylor Field, about 27,000. Will this be the final home game of the season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders? The outcome of this one and what happens at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton will determine whether or not Saskatchewan will host a playoff game. Ricky Foggy throwing back across the middle, and he was looking for Randy Marriott, but Glenn Suter from his safety position came in to get a hand on him.
Well, when Randy Marriott comes on that big curl and turns to the inside, he puts his hand up. Well, not only does Ricky Foggy see that, but that man, Glenn Suter, sees it. So when Foggy cocks the arm, he goes right to Marriott, knocks it down. And again, they came with Albright up the middle. They're keeping them busy up front.
2nd and 10 from the 35-yard line, 1:50 remaining in the half. Toronto leading 17-13 from the shotgun. Foggy with time, now he's under pressure. He won't get a chance to throw. Vince Goldsmith, who is number 3 in CFL sacks all time, adds another to his impressive total.
Brought both backs that time back in motion, along with the 5 linemen, to have 7 people protect Ricky Foggy. But the defensive coverage downfield was excellent. Foggy had nowhere to throw it, and eventually you're going to run out of time and get sacked.
Sack number 130 in his CFL career for Vince Goldsmith.
I don't know about wearing that one.
Okay, you know the word.
Halloween costume, maybe.
I hope.
Hank Lissick punting with the wind at his back from the 10-yard line. Yesterday in practice, he was booming the football.
Boy, he sure was. It was fun to watch.
Not only was he getting distance, he was getting height. Orville Lee at his 45-yard line being chased, waits for some blocking to develop, and returns the ball to the 51. A 6-yard run back after a 41-yard kick by Hank Lissick. The Saskatchewan Roughriders close out the season next Saturday night at BC Place Stadium, while the Toronto Argonauts are at home next weekend to the Ottawa Roughriders.
Saw John Hoffman take care of Paul Nastasiuk come down the field. Just keep your head on a swivel. As soon as you don't look, somebody's going to hit you.
1st and 10 from the 51. Austin over the middle for Elgard. Good coverage by Don Wilson. He had dropped off and then came up as soon as he saw that ball in the air to make the tackle.
Well, that was wild. 3 Saskatchewan Roughriders receiver all went into the middle, all went in different directions. Elgard sneaking back underneath. What they try to do is cause confusion, get him in a full flight and let him run.
Lucius Floyd being chased by and caught by Don Moon short of the first down.
Tackle by 36, Don Moon.
1:17 is the time remaining in the half.
1 yard short. The sticks on this side say he has to get between.
5 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 1. Ball in the Argo 50.
49 and 48. He needs 1 yard. A little over. Now you know who gets the ball normally. Milson Jones if it's over a yard. Under a yard, quarterback. Well, they're going to get a delay of the game penalty because that clock says 0.
Referee Ken Lazaruk talking with his back judge, Jacques Takeri. There were penalty flags in the play indicating a time count violation.
What they're arguing about is that the time 20-second clock went, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders complained about something being wrong, so the referee looked at the main clock, the big scoreboard, and said 20 seconds had not gone off of that one, so they're going to get some time put back up on the time clock. I don't know if it's right to do it, but they're going to do it.
This is almost reminiscent of when you played at Taylor Field, where you always seem to have about 3 minutes in the final minute of a half or at the end of the ball game.
Yep, you never lost. Time might run out on you, but not very often.
Time remained to play as indicated.
So on the 3rd down gamble, Milson Jones gets the ball, should have the first down. He was driven back, but it appeared as though he had advanced far enough to get the first down, although when they spotted it might be closer than the
he makes it.
Roughriders thought. No, it is a first down.
He'd make it by about half the football, but that's about all. Pretty good stand by the Argonauts, but now they got time to get that hurry-up offense going. 58 seconds.
Low snap. Austin is able to pick it up. His pass is intercepted by Darryl Ford. He's dropped at the 40-yard line.
Anytime you sprint one way, like he sprinted to his left and threw back to his right, you have to be concerned about the backside linebacker, in this case, Darryl Ford. Watch, he's throwing back to his right. The linebacker just drops back, steps right in front of the receiver and intercepts it, and Narcisse cuts his legs out from under him. But that's right where Darryl Ford should be sitting.
So the Argos, with 49 seconds remaining, have an opportunity to add to their 4-point advantage. Foggy is in the shotgun. Darrell Smith on the sidelines gets very close to a first down. He had slipped at the 45-yard line.
You could hear him hollering, "Get out of bounds, get out of bounds." If he gets out, it stops the clock. If he doesn't, the clock will start when the referee walks away from it. But they came with a blitz again. Dan Razovich and Larry Hogue, both coming from the short side of the field, but Foggy was able to get rid of it.
Darrell Smith will be featured on Live at the Half. He'll be talking with Scott Oakes. Draw play, and that gets the first down.
That's one way getting it. He took the snap on his own. The lineman really didn't get a chance to move, and he was gone. Got the first down. So he's still got 33 seconds, and he needs to get another 10 or so to have a shot at a field goal.
Coordination on that play between the center and the quarterback, Ricky Foggy.
Yeah, all you do is you go on, the quarterback will lift his hands. When he lifts the hand, the center snaps. That way you don't call signals. You just go untouched.
Good catch on the sidelines by Andrew Murray. He took the hit as he went up to haul that pass in. It's a first down, and Murray is hurt at the 43-yard line.
Took a real good hit. Eddie Lowe was coming over there to get in on it. He jumped high to make the catch. He's a tall boy anyway, at about 6'3", out of Carleton University. And I know that Adam Rita had him out in BC, and he's really happy to have him with Toronto. Watch the ball be thrown high. Watch how high he has to go to get the ball. Jump, turn in the air, and here comes Eddie Lowe. Gets him pretty good with that helmet and spins him.
Andrew Murray, last week we were talking about a flu bug that was running through the Toronto Argonaut organization, was in the end zone, had a pass thrown to him, which he dropped. Don Matthews was telling us yesterday that Murray should never have been playing that football game. He said Murray started the ball game despite some objections from the coaching staff, and then dropped that football, and later in the ball game just could not continue. The medical staff took Murray out of the ball game even though he wanted to continue playing. Murray out of Carleton. Let's take a look at some of the college scores from yesterday. Western, a lopsided win over York. St. Mary's beat Acadia.
Surprise here. Saskatchewan was number 5. They beat the number 3 team Calgary and moved into the playoff pictures, getting a little crowded out here.
Bishops beat McGill.
Surprise at the bottom. Waterloo beats Toronto. Toronto came in ranked I believe number 4 in the country, and Waterloo beat them. And look at the
Guelph with possession of the ball late in the game, but they could not score against Wilfrid Laurier.
And the surprise down here, Windsor was ranked number 9. McMaster only won their second game of the season, but they beat them 16-12. And George Brancato's team from Cape Breton won their first game of the year, beating St. FX, which was a surprise. UBC beating Manitoba. I think UBC gets Saskatchewan next week, and this is going to decide the playoff structure in the West.
Andrew Murray heading to the sidelines, 6'3", 200 pounds, as Ronnie mentioned, out of Carleton.
He had that great rookie year with BC, and then he hurt his knee, and he had a little trouble coming back from that, but he's an excellent receiver, and I know that the Argonauts are happy to have that size at slot back. This is run.
Clemens out in front blocking. Ricky Foggy goes out of bounds down at the 20-yard line with 8 seconds remaining in the half.
So he runs those receivers. He put 3 receivers out there, gets a good block to get outside. Then they start running downfield. He goes out with Clemens, and he'll just holler at Clemens to go. Clemens leads him down the field. I mean, it's usually see a big guy like Dan Ferrone or somebody leading you downfield. Looks funny to see a 5'5" blocker, but he leads him down the field and makes the block.
A gain of 28 yards. Foggy has carried twice for 65 and for 28. 8 seconds remaining. Foggy doesn't want to take too much time. He goes into the end zone for Smith. It's intercepted. Richie Hall brings it out of the end zone as he hauled in the deflection. There's a penalty flag on the play. It was against the Riders at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's going to go against them because they're a little upset. So that'll get Chomik in on another play to kick the field goal. Time has expired, but because of the penalty, they'll get another down.
Major foul, roughing the passer, number 3 Saskatchewan. First down Toronto.
Larry Hogue came on a halfback blitz and he was unblocked. And we saw Foggy throw the ball, and Larry Hogue must not have slowed up, and he really let him have it, so get another play.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts, I think, were fortunate in more ways than one. Not only was that ball intercepted, but even had it been knocked down, I don't think there was enough time for them to kick a field goal.
There was no time left. They would have lost it, so this is kind of a break for them.
A 17-yard field goal try by Lance Chomik. And on the final play of the half, he splits the uprights to restore the Toronto Argonauts' 7-point lead. And they go to the dressing room leading 20-13.
Sie müssen uns den Bericht.
Canadians are facing tough times. With reports from across the country, a special edition of Sunday Report will measure the extent of Canadians' anger and cynicism. I'm Peter Mansbridge. Watch Autumn of Discontent tonight on CBC.
Ethoxyquin. Dog breeders say it's a dangerous food additive.
The real problem started when all the
Welcome to Live at the Half from Taylor Field. The CFL has been a stage for some great receivers over the years. In 1966, Halter had been commissioner since 1958. He ran the league from his law office in Winnipeg, ran it with great authority, but also with unanimous respect. G. Sidney Halter was 85. He was buried today. And Don and Ron, before you comment on the first half of this game, I know that you are two people who had unanimous respect for Commissioner Halter.
Unanimous respect, you're absolutely right, Scott, and he will be missed by all of those who knew him in his years as commissioner of the Canadian Football League. Ron, that 1966 Grey Cup presentation, the year you won the Grey Cup.
Yeah, you know, in those days, you don't get a chance to talk to the commissioner a whole lot. I got to know him a lot better in Winnipeg, attending football games there, and had a lot of chances to talk to him. He was a great guy.
His most difficult decision, the 1962 Fog Bowl, where he had to suspend the final 10 minutes of the game and have it played the following day. Well, in the first half of today's football game, Ron, the Saskatchewan Roughriders jumped into a 10-0 lead, but the Toronto Argonauts came back to
Canadian. What beer's all about. By Priority Courier, the official courier of the CFL. And by Diet 7-Up. Challenge your taste.
This could be your last chance to get your tickets. Don't forget what happened last year.
The Toronto Argonauts lead on the scoreboard, and they had the edge statistically in the first half. Two big plays accounting for over half of the Argos' net yards. A 65-yard run by Ricky Foggy and a 64-yard pass to Randy Marriott. The Argos threw the ball 16 times in the first half. The Saskatchewan Roughriders 20 times along the ground. The Riders ran it one more time than Toronto. John Congemi, who had 3 stitches in his chin as a result of that blow he took from Bobby Jurison, is back, ready to play in the second half if called upon. Kevin Smelly's kickoff return brings the ball back to the 46-yard line.
Well, the Argonauts get the wind at their back to start the third quarter, so, you know, they need to get some points, and then hopefully in the fourth quarter go to a ball control and running game a little more. But right now they need points because Austin can put them up there in a hurry.
The wind almost seems to have changed direction slightly from the way we started the ball game. It appears now to be blowing more across Taylor Field than the length of the playing surface.
You're right, it has. I didn't even notice that. Flags are going across field. At the earlier in the game, they were going right down the field. Now it's a crosswind. Well, that's kind of normal here.
John Kangemi continues, or I should say Ricky Foggy continues at quarterback in place of John Kangemi, who started. Mike Clemens, the ball carrier, and he will get about 1 yard.
When Clemens started out, he was a little bit too wide. He was so wide he couldn't make the cut to get back inside where the hole was, and as a result, the defense stops him for only a short gain.
Well, Jones
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
was really held in check last week in that loss at the Sky Dome in Toronto. He's having more success today along the grounds. As a matter of fact, he has had a couple of 10-yard runs. Darrell Smith on the receiving end of the throw. They're ruling that he caught the football, even though Eddie Lowe came away with it as they went out of bounds. They were battling for the football. And I think Darrell Smith did have possession, but he's going to be short of the first down regardless.
Well, I think you're going to get what you refer to a simultaneous catch. Darrell Smith had a part of it, Eddie Lowe had part of it, and when they went out of bounds, referee signals Toronto football, but as you said, doesn't matter. Let's take a look. You see Larry Hogue, but what's coming underneath? Eddie Lowe, the ball be thrown a little bit behind him. So when he reaches, who has it? Ends up with no one's hands for a while, and Eddie Lowe finally pulls it in, but counted as a completion. They're going to punt it anyway.
The Argos leading by a score of 20-13 as Hank Olisic stands back at his own 40-yard line for this third down kick. Orville Lee waits for it back at his own 15. Mike Campbell had a piece of him, and then Keith Costello comes in to finish the job.
If you can get that first guy down there, in that case Mike Campbell, to take the initial hit at him, he grabbed enough of his jersey to slow him down. That allows the other guys to come down and make the tackle. So they limit a 39-yard kick, which isn't good for Olisic, but only a 2-yard return. So the net's not bad. You see Foggy with 93 yards passing, 64 of them on one play. So Austin's more of a ball control. Foggy's a big play guy.
Good fake by Austin. The pass knocked away by Don Wilson. It was intended for Donald Narcisse.
Well, that's a good job again by Wilson. Heck of a block come backside. Ray Elgar came down and just flattened Robert Smith, the defensive end, and that allowed Austin to get outside, but a good defensive play by Wilson prevented the completion.
Wilson has made a couple of fine defensive plays today.
He really has. Watch his block. He's the contain man. Just give him that shove, get him out of the way. Now there's no contain, and Austin gets outside very easily.
Second and 10, 3 receivers to the right from the shotgun. Austin throwing over the middle. Boyko makes the catch for a first down at the 33.
Excellent catch. When Lucius Floyd came in motion, put 4 receivers over there, and then all Austin does is try to find the one he wants. He laid it up, and Boyko went and got it. What's the diving catch? Right down the middle of the field. Over the linebacker, lay out there, get the hands on it, get control, first down.
First and 10, the ball at the 33. Nelson Jones. Ed Barry finally dragged Nelson Jones down, but not before he got to the 47. A 35-yard gallop by Nelson Jones.
He's actually running with authority this time. Watch Vic Stevenson. See, Robert Smith comes across unblocked. Vic Stevenson does a good job, but once Nelson Jones gets rolling, takes a big man to bring him down. Barry just hangs on and hopes for help.
First and 10. Austin to Lucius Floyd. He is caught and hauled down by Darryl Ford.
Get that man-to-man coverage, leaving on the snap of the ball. It makes it very difficult for a linebacker like Darryl Ford to run with a back like Lucius Floyd, but he did a good job because Lucius had to wait for the football.
11:25 is the time remaining in the third quarter. Toronto leads Saskatchewan 20-13.
A different look here. They put in Mike Campbell. That's 5 defensive linemen and take out Van Bellingham. Short yardage. 2nd and 4, expecting run. And they get a touchdown.
They are going to get a touchdown with Orville Lee.
That's an excellent job of blocking to the right side of that Saskatchewan line. He went through untouched.
That was touchdown from the moment he hit the line of scrimmage.
Watch the fake. Up the middle. There goes Milson Jones, who usually gets it. They fake to him. They draw that defense in, and all of a sudden, Orville Lee is home free.
Former Rookie of the Year in the Canadian Football League with the Ottawa Roughriders, a 1,000-yard rusher in his rookie season. Now wearing green and white, and he scores the touchdown, and with Dave Ridgway adding the extra point, this game is tied at 20. We'll be back with the Saskatchewan kickoff.
In Canada.
Of the week. The offensive player for week number 15 is Hamilton's Mike Kerrigan. The Tiger Cats clawed their way to a crucial 37-33 win over the Ottawa Roughriders, led by a gritty performance from quarterback Mike Kerrigan. He completed 26 of 41 passes for 411 yards and 4 TDs, including the game winner to Earl Winfield with 8 seconds to play. Mike Kerrigan, CFL Priority Courier Offensive Player of the Week.
I can't remember.
The official supplier vehicles.
Orville Lee acquired by Saskatchewan on August 10th for running back Sean Daniels with a 40-yard run to tie the game at 20.
Boy, you saw Bobby Jurison, who comes in on that short yardage offense, blocked down and just walled the whole inside off. And when Orville Lee hit the hole, he probably couldn't believe it. There's not a white jersey to be seen. It was an easy run.
Mike Clemens on this kickoff return slips at the 25. 2 other games today on this next to last weekend in the Canadian Football League. Ottawa now leading Winnipeg 27-12. Ottawa, of course, battling Hamilton for 3rd place in the East. And Hamilton this afternoon is playing in Edmonton and leading the Eskimos 3-0 in the opening quarter.
The pressure's really on. Now, Ticats been playing well. Edmonton, as we talked about earlier, haven't been. Ottawa has been the surprise. You know, when they lost that game to Hamilton, they could have just easily folded the tents and said, well, you know, better luck next time. But they've come back strong against an awful strong Winnipeg club.
If they do win today in the nation's capital, they'll have won 3 of their last 4. Fake draw play to Andrew Murray. The pass produces a first down at the 46.
Get a little bit lucky. Get the arm hit and still have enough velocity on the football to get it to Andrew Murray, who went down the left side and crossed all the way over. And he had good blocking, but eventually, watch, he'll get his arm hit. There it is. Rasevich gets that hand up. You can't follow through. It wobbles. But hey, looks like a dart in the paper.
First and 10. The ball is at the 47. The game tied at 20. Foggy throws for Murray again. Knocked away by Albert Brown. Albert Brown is a little upset with himself. When he saw that ball in the air, I think he may have momentarily been thinking touchdown.
Well, he should be disappointed because he has to intercept that ball. He's just sitting back here in his zone, and he's coming forward to catch the ball. He's got to make that catch. He's lucky it didn't bounce off and have Murray catch it, but as you say, if he picks it off, he does have a shot at a touchdown.
2nd and 10 from the 46. 9:48 the time remaining in the 3rd quarter. Foggy rolling out and being chased. There's a penalty flag on the play. Foggy gets the pass away and then takes a tremendous hit from Goldsmith and Eddie Lowe. He was looking for Randy Marriott, but there was a penalty call. Foggy was being pursued. There was a flag behind him, a holding call that will, I'm certain, be declined by the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Holding. Call number 54. Decline. 3rd down.
Chairman of the Canadian Football League, Roy McMurtry. Spectator at this afternoon's football game.
How are you doing? Thanks. Thank you. So you hope to get rid of that football, and you get sandwiched with Eddie Lowe and Vince Goldsmith. You know, they talk about hitters on every football club. Eddie Lowe is a great hitter for this green and white team. He's coming from the front, Goldsmith from the back. try to stay out of that situation if you can.
Orville Lee goes back to the 21-yard line. And Lee, as he tried to cut, stumbled and was down by Paul Nastasio. Saskatchewan will scrimmage 1st and 10 at their own 27.
I like that. Challenge your taste.
26,141 the crowd count this afternoon. 26,139 inside Taylor Field.
That's right.
Milson Jones takes the pitch. Roger Aldag is out blocking, and Milson Jones will get a first down.
Well, they come into the game wanting to run the football, and I kind of thought, I really didn't believe it. I figured they'll come out and run a few times, and they'll get back to their normal game plan. But watch Milson Jones gets outside, gets a block by pitcher, turns upfield, Hallman misses him, and Gaines comes over, and along with the safety man, Van Bellingham, and they bring him down.
Roger Aldag, who is out blocking as well, his 233rd consecutive game. Milson Jones takes the hit from Don Wilson. It's an incomplete pass.
Whenever you read to your left, Austin went back, looked to his left. Didn't like it over there. Now, by the time you come all the way back to the other side, you line them up. And boy, did Darryl Ford have them lined up and let him have it. Must be Halloween season.
Either that, he's been in a room a little too long without adequate oxygen.
Look at that, just time it perfectly. Don Wilson, as Milson Jones turns around, Don Wilson just lays the leather on him. That's good hit. Wilson's had great hits today.
Pass knocked down right at the line of scrimmage by Chris Gaines.
Chris Gaines was coming on a blitz. He got to the line of scrimmage, and Roger Aldag blocked him. All he did is look, and the ball's coming, play a little volleyball and spike it.
He looks like a linebacker, doesn't he?
He really does. He's got those strange eyes. The linebackers all have those strange eyes, don't they?
You peered into enough of them over your career.
I know they're nice guys, but they got weird eyes. Look at them. All linebackers have those kind of eyes.
And that is not his current hairstyle either.
No, it isn't.
He has shaved the hair off his head. And it makes him even a more fierce-looking competitor. Clemens does not get an opportunity to return Mike Lazecki's kick. A big kick, and that goes for 58 yards.
You know what I'm saying? Even she tell me something, man. Sometimes it's just hard to say.
He didn't like whatever communication he's getting, that's for sure. You know, it's funny, we talked about the wind. Well, you saw a good example there. Lazecki hit a line drive up the middle, and all of a sudden that wind carried it away from Clemens. It hit, went out of bounds, got tremendous yardage with no return.
7:42 the time remaining in the third quarter. The score is tied at 20. The Argos are back at their own 12-yard line. 1st and 10. Ricky Foggy directing the attack, taking over from the injured John Congemi. This is Darrell Smith on the reverse. Foggy's out trying to block. And he may have done an adequate enough job to enable Smith to get the first down.
I know we get it all today, haven't we? Have we not had it all today? We have a reverse with Darrell Smith coming. And now, when Foggy runs, he gets Clemens blocking for him. Here comes Smith. He gets the quarterback blocking for him. Now, I think I like Foggy's better, but watch it. Here comes Darrell Smith. They tackle Clemens, and number 14 is the lead blocker. Kevin Smelly, I think with that little duck in and then jump outside, he helped his own cause. Get him, Rick. Good job. Hey, he did throw a block. He's laughing at Jerson and saying, I got you.
And Jerson's looking back and saying, I don't believe it. I was blocked by a quarterback.
And going, are you kidding me?
They're going to measure, determine whether or not he got the first down, and it is a first down for the Toronto Argonauts at the 23-yard line. 20-20 is the score. The Riders led 10-0. Toronto came back to take a 17-10 lead. They exchanged field goals before Saskatchewan got the tying touchdown on a 40-yard run by Orville Lee. Certain amount of confusion in that Argo backfield. Foggy throws to the sidelines, intended for Andrew Murray. It will be 2nd and 10.
Wasn't the confusion so much, Don, as the crowd noise. Foggy called an audible. You could tell he did because right away you saw Dan Ferrone lift up to hear it. In came Smelly. Clemens came and got it and went out and relayed it to the receivers. When that noise gets loud on the field, if you aren't prepared with signals, that's the only way you can get the play out there. So not a bad job. I mean, it went for an incompletion, but at least they didn't have a sack.
The crowd, thinking they may have had some success in detracting the Argos last time, roar again. Vince Goldsmith was after Foggy, couldn't get him, but Eddie Lowe did.
Field position battle has changed a little bit. That punt by Alisic and then the punt by Lazecki, that he really got the benefit of the bounce, and now the Argonauts are going to have to punt from their own end zone.
And with Alisic kicking from the end zone, do you think that the Saskatchewan Roughriders will go after him?
I'd load up the wagons now. Lay him back and go get him. You saw him escape Goldsmith, but Eddie Lowe didn't miss him.
Fourth quarter now. Ottawa 27, Winnipeg 8.
Alisic stands in the end zone. No, they're setting up the return. Good kick, Orville Lee back to midfield. A face mask call as Orville Lee was hauled down by Jim Kardash.
Looked like Flag Day. Everybody could see that one was right in the open. All the fans saw it, we saw it, and all of a sudden flags came from everywhere. But he had the wall set pretty well. Orville Lee was very close to breaking again.
A 21-yard run back, and the face mask call will move the Riders even closer to the Toronto end zone.
Major foul on the face mask. 63 Toronto. First down Saskatchewan.
Right here as he tries to step inside. Right there. You can't miss that one. You see that head turn like that. It hurts a little bit. Kardash got it. This is a live action. You turn in a hurry, and then Mike Campbell's there just to add a little insult. But great field position to start.
From the 20, Lucius Floyd is going to throw for Narcisse. Touchdown!
You could see that coming right at the snap. When Austin threw the ball back to number 31, Lucius Floyd, he was already setting up to throw. The mistake was made and allowed him to go into the end zone, and a nice high floater drifted and dropped right in his hands.
So the Saskatchewan Roughriders retake the lead for the first time since the opening quarter.
So just grab, watch out, it's pretty. Just turns over right into his hand. Bellingham can't get there fast enough.
David Ridgway adds the point after, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders lead by a converted touchdown with 5:32 still to play in quarter 3.
Sort of dominated this half. Saskatchewan's taking it to them. They haven't allowed them to get any field position, and finally they get a break, get a touchdown. Right now, you can tell it's Pat. Look, he's got it in his hands ready to throw. You like to try to sell the run a little bit, but he didn't have to because Ed Berry bit. As soon as that ball was tossed out, he came running up. See Narcisse go by, throw it.
Donald Narcisse, who has caught a pass in every game this year. The second time in his career that he has tossed the 1,000-yard mark in receptions. Both he and Ray Elgard are over 1,000 yards this year. It's been a few years since the Riders have had two 1,000-yard receivers. The last time was when Chris DeFrance and Joey Walters went over 1,000 yards.
I think it was 81 or something like that, if I remember right.
Mike Clemens on the return. He ran into his own blocker, Kevin Smelly.
Boy, he set that up nice. Then he caught that ball, and he started out toward the middle, which pulls all the green jerseys to him, and then he cut in behind the wall. But as you say, he ran right back into Kevin Smelly's back as he cuts upfield right here. A little collision with number 5, and he's down. But Still got 30 yards on that return and has good field position for the Argonauts.
Coming into the game, Clemens needed 92 yards to hit 3,000. He has picked up 81 all-purpose yards so far today.
Well, I like his chances then.
Two guards pull. Foggy tried to follow them, but in to make the tackle is Bobby Jurison.
You don't expect that. You know, normally you run that counter with Mike Clemens carrying the ball, but they take him out of there, and Foggy steps to his right just to give the lineman time to go, and then tries to get in behind him.
.442 the time remaining in the third quarter. It will be 2nd and 8, Toronto. From the shotgun. Foggy to Paul Masati. Fumbles the football. Saskatchewan's got it. Dan Rashovich with his second fumble recovery today with 4:23 left in the third quarter.
Soup's on $2.99.
Simon Fraser product Dan Rashovich joined the Riders in 1987. This 1990 season has been his most successful.
Had a great year. You know, we've seen him run downfield with slot backs, cover backs out of the backfield, be on special teams and make tackles. And we see now he's getting a chance to start on defense, and he's had an outstanding season.
1st and 10 from the 53. Milson Jones gets the ball. He knocked over Darryl Ford as he tried to extend himself and pick up additional yardage. But Milson Jones is running extremely hard this afternoon.
Well, I was watching him the other day, and he was on a television show out here, and they was asking him about the running game they're going to get going. And, you know, no running back likes to come back and talk to the fans after you gain 10 yards and 10 carries. And he says, yeah, if they get me the ball enough this weekend, I'll get my yards.
2nd and 5, Saskatchewan. They are at the 53 of Toronto. Milson Jones again. He's got the first down. He was driven back, but his forward progress as John Gregory moves up to take a look should be enough for a first down.
Well, they moved the chain, so he got close enough.
We talked earlier about Milson Jones and his game-winning runs. 33 yards against the Hamilton Ticats in the season opener. Then he had a run, a winning touchdown gallop of 40 yards against the BC Lions, and a short plunge against the Edmonton Eskimos. Milson Jones with a gain of about 1.
There's the way you tackle Milson Jones. You saw number 21, Darryl Ford, come up from that linebacker position. When you turn back inside, get down below the knees, get him down low on the legs, hit him up in those thighs, he has a tendency to run right over you.
2:39 the time remaining in the third quarter. You know, Milson Jones coming into this game had 3,960 yards. He's the CFL's active leading rusher.
I didn't know that.
Now you do.
Okay.
Austin to Elgard, first down at the 31.
Elgard's put a move on Brazeley. Brazeley falls down. That's what happens when one guy goes deep. Narcisse will just run down the field deep. Elgard comes down, plant, go to the outside. And when you saw Brazeley try to chase him from behind, he just slips and falls. Elgard's wide open. You work in pairs, those two receivers to the same side.
1st and 10 from the 31. In this third quarter, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have dominated. Lucius Floyd takes that little toss and gets another first down, Saskatchewan.
Second half's been all Saskatchewan. The Argonauts, I don't know if they've made more than one first down, if they've made that. But this time, watch him float the football. Looks to his right, sprint right. All right, nothing here, look left. Now go ahead, just float it. Lead it out in front of him. Good catch, coming back. Greg Harris makes a block right there on Darryl Ford. Then he just runs. But they're moving the football pretty well right now.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan from the 15. 1:28 is the time remaining in the third quarter. Toronto 27, or 20, Saskatchewan 27. This will be a procedure call against Saskatchewan.
On the play.
Lucius Floyd was the ball carrier. Someone on the right side seemed to pull out of their stance prior to the ball being snapped. It could be Vic Stevenson.
Legal procedure. Saskatchewan number 62. First down repeated.
A lot of times, what is your assignment? Sometimes you have to set. That was a draw. You'll set to get that defensive end upfield, and you go to a linebacker. Well, you better be quick and getting going because that back's going to get there in a hurry, but he just jumped a little early.
Hamilton leading Edmonton 4-3. It appears as though Ottawa is going to defeat Winnipeg. They lead 27-12, just over a couple of minutes remaining. Lucius Floyd on the draw play. Good run, and he'll be close to a first down.
Well, you saw Chris Gaines come on a blitz right up the middle. He had his legs cut out from under him. He tried to jump over, and then all of a sudden he doesn't make the hit, and Lucius Floyd was gone up inside. Watch the handoff coming to the left. Here comes number 38. Just got his legs cut out from under him. Big hole opens up. Floyd's down to the 6-yard line.
In that Winnipeg-Ottawa game, the Blue Bombers have turned the ball over 5 times.
Well, that'll happen to you. When you do that, you should lose.
First and goal, Milson Jones stopped at the 5.
If you think back to last week, Toronto, Saskatchewan at the Dome, Saskatchewan turned it over 5 times, Toronto 0. Toronto wins the game. So it tells you, every time you turn that ball over, you take the odds away from you. You lose your favor anyway. You're lose.
Well, the Riders will have 3 cracks at putting it in the end zone from the 4. If they don't put it in at this end, they'll switch to the other, as this should be the final play of the third quarter. Austin into the end zone. Narcisse, he makes the catch, but was clearly out of the end zone.
Come back.
And he was almost out of the park.
If the gate would have been open, he would have been.
Well, as Donald Narcisse makes his way back to the playing field, we'll switch ends for the fourth quarter.
Years.
To start the fourth quarter, it's Saskatchewan's 2nd and goal from the Toronto 4-yard line. The Riders hoping to add to their touchdown lead. Incomplete. Lucius Floyd and Milson Jones were both in the end zone. There appeared to be a bit of a mix-up in the patterns they were running as Kent Austin threw it over their heads. At halftime, the Argos had the edge statistically. We talked about the strong third quarter performance of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They now have 322 yards, and they also have a 4-minute edge in time of possession.
Well deserved too. The third quarter definitely belonged to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They have dominated the whole time. Argonauts are going to lose the 3 here probably, and they got to start to put together some drives if they're going to go anywhere.
That is a record 56th field goal by David Ridgway, a kick of 11 yards. That breaks the mark he established in 1988. An 11-play drive for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and David Ridgway, with the announcement of that 56th field goal, gets a standing ovation from the crowd at Taylor Field. Over 26,000 watching the action in what could be the final home game for the Roughriders this season.
Well, they got that shot at 9-9. Right now they still got a 10-8, but that 9-9 seems to be the magic number. Hold down, no problem. Set foot into it. And that's not even a chip shot for him from 10 yards away, or whatever it was.
Well, if they do finish 9-9, Coach John Gregory would like to have the end of the season be as successful as it was a year ago. Ridgway with 56 field goals. Paul Osbaldiston, who established the league single-season scoring record with 233 points a year ago, has 45.
Talk about that 11-play drive right there. That more or less goes along with what we talked about earlier. Saskatchewan with Austin is ball control and put it together. Foggy is a big play man, as are the Argonauts, and they have not had the big plays in the third quarter.
Mike Clemens returns the ball to the 48-yard line. Good field position for this next series by the Toronto Argonauts. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have not lost when they've been leading after 3 quarters, and of course they have an excellent record here at home at Taylor Field. They've won 6 and lost 2. And the Argos have yet to win when they've trailed after 45 minutes of play.
Well, then let's call this game's over. It's history. Just forget it.
The Argos and Winnipeg with identical road records this year, the best in the CFL, 4-4. Darryl Smith was the intended receiver. They couldn't get the ball to him. He was being covered by Larry Hogue. And Smith last week against Saskatchewan owned the Roughriders, but he had to make some circus catches to do it. This year, they've had problems getting the ball to, or this afternoon, they've had problems getting the ball to him.
Well, when he goes downfield, you're going to have Richie Hall hitting them and covering them. They're going to have Eddie Lowe out there hitting him, or Rasevich. You know, you're just not going to let Darryl Smith run around and get 200 yards on 7 receptions. That'll get you beat again. So take that away, make him beat you with something else, and they've had trouble with it, especially in the second half.
From the shotgun, it's 2nd and 10 from the 49. Jeff Boyd makes the catch and slips as he tried to turn it upfield, but that's a first down at the 40-yard line.
Ball was thrown just far enough where Albert Brown was going to cut in front and go for the interception. It was over his head. Good protection. Watch the ball high. Now watch number 4 come in front. He was looking for that ball down around the numbers. Boyd just concentrated on it, made the catch, and out of bounds.
Boyd has been used sparingly this afternoon by the Argos. That's his first reception.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at that. You know, I figured coming in, they're going to try to take Darryl Smith away. So he's the veteran receiver. You're going to go to him as much as possible.
To Kevin Smelly on the screen. Close to another first down. It looks as though he got inside the 30, but I think they're going to spot the ball outside the 30. And that will be just shy of a first down.
See Kevin Smelly limping. That's a moving screen. You know, you see a lot of times they throw the football pulling line, but this time they don't. They got 3 receivers there. They just swing Smelly out, give him the ball, and let the receivers block for him.
Ricky Foggy!
Don Matthews trying to take advantage of that injury to Kevin Smelly to relay some assignments and some calls to Ricky Foggy.
He's hollering at Foggy. Foggy's over there hollering at Albert Brown. They're having a conversation.
13:08 is the time remaining in the 4th quarter. The Saskatchewan Roughriders ahead by 10. They're examining the left knee, or the right knee of Kevin Smelly. In the 4th quarter now, it's Ottawa 27, Winnipeg 18, but those 5 turnovers have certainly hurt the Blue Bombers this afternoon. And at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, a touchdown by Earl Winfield has moved the Ticats into an 11-3 lead over the Edmonton Eskimos. Kevin Smelly out of the ball game. Keith Kelly in. Ricky Foggy tried to cut back and got the first down.
Option play. Come out of there, fake that ball. The quarterback come down the line of scrimmage. What he wants to do is pitch the ball when he gets pressure. Well, they took the pitch man away, so Foggy has to keep it.
2 yards on that last play to first down.
Here he comes. Got a little bit of a fake. Try to hold him. Now, down the line, an option, the first thing that shows. You see Eddie Lowe ignores him. He just goes out and plays the pitch man. That makes Foggy become the ball carrier. Good idea. Make the quarterback carry the ball and then knock the heck out of him.
First and 10. The Argos in the shotgun. Richie Hall showing blitz. Here he comes. They pick it up. Foggy's end zone pass well over the head of Andrew Murray.
In the end zone for Andrew Murray, 86. Incomplete.
She'll be representing the Saskatchewan Roughriders in this year's Miss Grey Cup contest, Carrie Butler, Miss Saskatchewan Roughrider for 1990.
Saw that ball thrown deep, Don, like it looked like Murray was being double covered. Well, what happened was when Masadi went down the field to run a pattern, he slipped and fell, so his man just ignored him and back and helped out on Murray.
2nd and 10 on the 28.
From the 28, it is 2nd and 10, Toronto. Again, the Argos in that shotgun formation. Foggy being chased by David Albright, throws on the run over the head of Darrell Smith.
Way to go, David.
Running right, throwing left, throwing on the run. Ball sails. Went over Darrell Smith's head. He was open. He knew as soon as it was let go, he wasn't going to catch it.
So Lance Chomick will come into the ball game to try and cut into that 10-point Saskatchewan advantage with 11:51 remaining in the ball game. He's hit from 11 and 17 yards. This will be a 35-yard attempt. It's good. And just a converted touchdown separates the Riders and the Argos with 11:38 left.
In Canada, the
best from shampoos and the best from conditioners in one, with no residue.
Cup 90 in Vancouver. Don't miss it.
Done.
It's final now in the nation's capital. The Ottawa Roughriders have beaten the Bombers 27-18, and so for the second straight week, the Roughriders defeat the Bombers. Will have to get their game in order, Don, as they head now to the East Final on November 18th.
Well, Winnipeg last year ended the season in a 7-game losing streak. Mike Riley and Cal Murphy certainly will not be happy to see the Blue Bombers lose back-to-back games to the Ottawa Roughriders, even though they have already clinched first place. Orville Lee lets the kick bounce into the end zone before picking it up. And Orville Lee gets it back out to the 13-yard line. An 80-yard kickoff, a 19-yard return by Orville Lee. So temporarily, at least, the Ottawa Roughriders have moved 2 points ahead of Hamilton in the battle for third place. But Hamilton is leading the Edmonton Eskimos 11-3 in their game at Commonwealth Stadium. On the final weekend of the season, Ottawa plays the Argos at the Sky Dome. The Ticats are at Winnipeg Stadium. First and 10. The ball is at the 14. There's the pitch to Lucius Floyd. And Floyd is stopped at the 17 or 18-yard line by Chris Gaines.
You got to get that ball. Now you need to control it against the wind. The wind seems to be favoring the Argos a little bit, even though it's a crosswind. Elgard and Gaines don't really like one another very well, but I wouldn't want to get in a battle with either one of them. There's Elgard try to block him. Gaines comes up, steps in front, finally locates the ball carrier and brings him down. So he had to say something to Elgard going by.
Forget about the guy who might win that battle. How would you like to be the one trying to step in to break it up?
I wouldn't do it. Just stand up there and watch them. Stay out of their way.
On 2nd and 6, Austin looks to his left and underthrows Greg Harris.
Got the man coverage, ran a turn-in route, just one-on-one. Just threw it a little bit too wide. Couldn't get back to it.
Austin pausing for a moment to contemplate that throw that fell short of Greg Harris. And the Toronto Argonauts will get the ball back in good field position with 10:25 remaining in the game.
Tony Rice's job, write down the plays. Saves a lot of time breaking down the film. There's no questions. You know what was called. You write it down. You can't get in there and have someone say, well, he didn't call that. It's done.
Lazecki will kick from his own 2-yard line. And a good kick it is. Clemens takes it at midfield. Clemens is going to lose yards. A loss of 10 as he attempted to go wide left. A 37-yard kick, and with that loss of 10, the net result is 47 yards.
Don Wilson tried, to help him, but Drinkwalder had too far. He couldn't block him without hitting him in the back. Next Saturday at the Ottawa game, the Argo wives are putting together a food drive, and they're going to be located at the main gates coming into the Sky Dome, and the players' wives will have their husbands' jerseys on. They'd like all the fans to bring some non-perishable food items and try to build that food bank back up.
So we encourage all those who attend next week's Toronto-Ottawa game to make a contribution. Jeff Boyd on the sidelines. He was being well covered over there by Albert Brown.
I really don't know what Foggy was trying to do with that particular football other than maybe just throw it away. He was covered very, very well by Brown. Boyd had nowhere to go. It looked like he just kind of threw it short. He's looking for Elgard.
Well, you say that's the face of an intense competitor?
Very much so. You have to be intent to play that middle linebacker position or any position, but that is a tough position to play. You're getting hit from all sides, yet you're supposed to make a lot of tackles.
Foggy for Darrell Smith, knocked away by Richie Hall. Even though Darrell Smith had a great game against Saskatchewan last week, the Rough Rider coaching staff felt that Richie Hall had played Darrell Smith pretty well.
He was always there, just like here. Now, the difference was last week, Hall would have probably missed the ball and Smith would have caught it. But last week, every time Richie Hall had the great position, Darrell Smith would use that height or the ball be just a little too far and he'd make the catch. You know, Richie Hall felt bad last week, but the coaches thought he did a great job. And today, Darrell Smith caught 2 passes for 10 yards. So somebody's doing a job.
Good high kick by Hank Galisic. Orville Lee waits for it at the 20. And he gets it out to the 32. A run back of 12 with 8:47 remaining in the game.
I like Diet 7-Up.
Challenge your taste.
For star selection.
As we mentioned earlier, this is a milestone game for Bob Pulley, the 200th of his CFL career. Only 25 players in league history have ever played 200 games. Orville Lee slashing his way through for a gain of 8.
Well, he shows you the quickness. Run right up in there as you're talking about behind Anderson, Aldag, and Paulie. Orville Lee shows you that quickness that enabled him a few years ago to rush for 1,000 yards. He's an excellent ball carrier, but with that quickness, if those offensive linemen will just make contact, he'll be through that hole, and we saw a good example of it there.
David Pitcher on the sidelines adjusting some of his equipment. At one time, he was 4th ranked in Canada in the modern pentathlon.
What's he doing playing football?
More rewarding. Nelson Jones trying to get the first down. He has 5 Argos at least attempting to prevent him from getting there.
He's got to get across the 47-yard line, so Don Matthews has a good look at it, and John Gregory has a good look at it. See what decision they're going to make.
McAreedy has kicked a field goal for the Eskimos. It's now 11-6. Hamilton leading Edmonton in the second quarter. The Eskimos have lost 4 in a row. They have to go back to 1971 for the last time they had suffered that many consecutive losses.
Well, it's good that time of year, Don, as we mentioned last week. You want to start putting things together for the playoffs. That means you have to start winning ball games.
3rd and inches, Kent Austin keeps. He should get the first down.
Yes.
Yep, signals there. Big play. Right now, you know, all they want to do is control it. Make those first downs. That's their style of offensive play anyway. Ball control, make first downs, eventually get touchdowns. And every time they make a first down, that's a couple more minutes off the clock.
And the clock is running, 6:45, the time remaining here at Taylor Field. Saskatchewan leading by a score of 30-23. They also lead in first down. That pass was deflected. Picked up by Lucius Floyd at the line of scrimmage.
Watching was Darrell Ford along with
You know
Don
what you
Wilson,
see right here?
20 and 21.
You see a heck of an example of how a football draws a crowd. I mean, he's the fourth receiver on it. Watch him throw it. As you say, it's deflected by Harding. Now, he catches the football. Wilson forces him in. When they hold him up, everybody gets a shot at him. You saw 70 Hallman come. You saw Chris Gaines go over the top. It attracts a crowd in a hurry.
6 minutes remaining. 2nd and 10. Austin out of that shotgun formation. Again looking for Harris, and he misses him with the throw. The Argos will get the ball back as Saskatchewan sends out the punting team. That's the second time Austin on 2nd down has attempted to go to Harris on the same type of pattern.
I think he was a little disappointed the first time. I think this time he was happy it went out of bounds. He could have maybe got it into Harris, but it would have been close. There were some white jerseys around. I think he was. I know when he looked downfield, he just kind of waved to him, throw it away. Don't take any chances. Don't turn it over at midfield.
Mike Lazecki punting from his own 32-yard line. Kicked out of bounds at the 23. Clemens does not get an opportunity to return it with 5:28 remaining here at Taylor Field.
Hi, everybody.
For so little.
Next weekend, we've got a football doubleheader for you. On Saturday, we'll see the Saskatchewan Roughriders take on the BC Lions. And on Sunday, we'll be at Winnipeg Stadium as the Blue Bombers entertain the Hamilton Ticats. Both games could take on added importance depending on the outcome this afternoon. Saskatchewan could be playing for 2nd place in the West. Hamilton could be fighting for 3rd place in the East.
It could be interesting. I hope it ends up that way because you want the games to be meaningful, and I really think they will be. So Hamilton needs to win today, and it looks like next week's game is going to be just as big.
5:15 remaining. It will be 2nd and 10. Toronto. The Argos at their own 24-yard line. Again in that shotgun formation. Kevin Smelly shaken up earlier, back in the ball game, but Richie Hall ran right past him. Pass is complete to Randy Marriott. Marriott trying to use his speed to get outside. Albert Brown makes a saving tackle.
They came with that halfback blitz, and when they come with a halfback blitz, what they've done today is bring the linebacker to that side also. In this case, it's 74 Rasevich. He comes inside. Hall comes outside. You can't block both of them. That halfback, watch coming from the top. All right, he steps in. He can get one, but he can't get the other. Now it's just run away from trouble. There's Rasevich. Here comes Goldsmith. He throws it in. He can never get turned upfield. And a good tackle by Albert Brown. He comes up 3 yards short of that first down. But they've done a good job with that halfback blitz today. That's the one we saw, the fumble that got everything started in the 3rd quarter.
Get up on 3rd down punt bounces away from Orville Lee. And Orville Lee is stopped at the 30-yard line with 4:24 remaining.
Well, you see Bruce Elliott take the run at it right here. Force that kick returner as he's catching the football. Don't allow him to look upfield and run. Make him dodge and tackle him. Bruce Elliott lined him up, and when he ducked his head to get under that, the tackle was made, and he only gets 3 yards.
A 52-yard punt that time by Hank Alisic. 1st and 10, Saskatchewan. The Riders at their own 31-yard line. The clock is running as we count down to 4 minutes remaining. Saskatchewan leading 30-23. Kent Austin is going to run this and be hauled down at the 35-yard line. He's protesting that there was a face mask violation by the Toronto Argonauts. I don't think so. I think Harold Hallman got that hand up around the shoulder pads.
Yeah, I don't. You're exactly right, John. I don't think it was a face mask. Watch. It's underneath on the helmet, on the ear, right under on the where they attach the chin strap to the helmet on the ear part. He got a hold of that. Harold Hallman's had a good cricket, good quickness, and when they moved Harding inside with them, it sure has helped both of them to solidify that Toronto defensive line. So he's getting blocked a lot early in the year, but when you have 2 of them to contend with, you can't.
an injured member of the Toronto Argonauts.
Can't really see who it is right now, can you?
3:46 is the time remaining. 30-23, the Saskatchewan Roughriders lead. Still not certain who that Toronto player is.
Turning back, you see 77 coming.
It is Harding on the hit by Stevenson.
An excellent block. I'll tell you what, when those offensive linemen can get upfield and then turn and peel back, the defensive lineman cannot see them coming, and all of a sudden, you end up with your head heading to the ground and your feet to the air, and that's what happened to Harding.
Vic Stevenson coming from one direction as Harding was pursuing the quarterback, not looking that way, and bang.
Well, you look at Harding is 6'2", 260 pounds, and Stevenson is 6'2" and about 270 pounds, and you get turning, as you say, running in different directions, you're in a heck of a collision. And we saw it, and Harding got the worst of it.
2nd and 5 for Saskatchewan. Stacey Hairston with a little bit of design work in that hairstyle. Whatever the significance of the arrows, he likes it.
Yep, he sure does. You're going to do that, aren't you?
I plan on doing that in future years.
When you get back from Detroit, right?
As soon as I get back from Detroit.
Oh. And when are you going?
I'm not.
On the 35.
2nd down, the Argos need the football. Milson Jones trying to prevent them from getting it, and he'll be close to a 1st down.
Well, I'll tell you, talk about confidence in the running game. Austin looking at 2nd and 5, normally throws the football. They come out and give it to Milson Jones straight ahead, and they're close enough to measure. I would say they're going to be a couple inches short.
John Gregory, in explaining the 10 yards rushing last week, said we got into a position where we fell behind 21-0. We had to throw the football when we were playing catch-up.
Yeah, this is where statistics don't tell you a whole lot about them. You know, we're at that stage of the year where statistics don't say anything. You're down 21-0. Why don't you throw the, if you run the football, your fans are going to boo. What are you doing? So you have to throw the football because you have to try to win. And when you try to win, you neglect the running game. If you're winning, you run the football.
3rd down gamble. Kent Austin will keep and get the 1st down. 2:58 is the time remaining. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders hang on to that 7-point lead.
When it's time to play football, I exit the real world. Rather primitive, isn't it?
In Ottawa, 67% of football fans tested prefer the taste of Diet 7-Up.
Boy, were we thirsty.
Over Diet Coke.
Someone tried to take my dad's 7-Up away from me. I'm afraid we'd have to discuss it.
Challenge your taste.
I like your company. Such.
Honda presents.
Don Matthews was hoping that the Argos would continue where they left off last week at the Sky Dome in that 59-15 route. John Gregory was confident that his team would bounce back. At the moment, it appears as though Gregory is going to see his hopes realized this afternoon at Taylor Field. Orville Lee looks for a block and then cuts up to the 50-yard line.
Well, you saw it, number 20, Don Wilson, come from that halfback position into the offensive backfield to turn it in. When you turn it in, you should be getting some help from all those linebackers. Here comes 38. Good block by Poley. He fights it off, shoves him to the ground, and he does what he's supposed to do. Locate the football and get there in a hurry.
2nd and 2, Saskatchewan. The ball is at the 50. Over Over 26,000 watching the action this afternoon at Taylor Field and wherever you're looking in on the CBC television network. We hope you're enjoying the game. Milson Jones will get the first down. When Milson Jones gets moving, he is a very difficult back to bring down. He ran out of the grasp of Darryl Ford, took on the hit of Reggie Pleasant, and continued churning for about 3 more.
Yeah, he just has that knack. We talked about it every time you see him. You keep wondering how he does it. I mean, he's not overly fast. He just kind of oozes into it, and they hit, and as they bounce off, he just sort of runs right through it, and he almost broke that one.
101 yards this afternoon for Milson Jones. 1st and 10 Saskatchewan from the Toronto 50. Orville Lee caught and brought down by Bruce Elliott after a pickup of 2.
Well, Saskatchewan's thinking first downs. Touchdown's not important to them, but watching that last minute and 54 seconds run off the clock is. Toronto, on the other hand, they need a turnover because the second half they have not moved the football very well.
Second and 8 Saskatchewan, 1:40 the time remaining. The Riders right now content, I'm sure, to stay on the ground, although they sent 3 receivers wide to the right. And there was a blitz coming up the middle with Darryl Ford after Kent Austin. He got it away just in time.
I'll tell you one thing, it's a good thing they got to him because he had the ideal matchup. He had Lucius Floyd, 31, out in a slot, and he had number 38, Gaines, trying to cover him. Well, you're asking too much, but the problem was he didn't have a chance. Watch it coming. Here it comes, right up the middle. He had to throw it. Well, you know, you put a guy in a bad situation, you're trying to cover a blitz, and Gaines did his job, but Darryl Ford made the play.
Well, the Argos are going to get a chance with 1:32 remaining. Ozecki's kick, taken by Clemens at the 10. And Clemens gets it back to the 41. 1:19 is the time remaining. Let's go down to Scott Oak.
Well, Don, in Edmonton, the Eskimos are trying to avoid a 5-game skid, but when it's going bad, these things can happen. Late first half, McAreedy with a field goal attempt. He was wide, and so the Eskimos settled for a single point. Trail Hamilton 12-7 at the half. The Ticats need to win to stay even with Ottawa in the East.
That would be a major upset if Hamilton were to knock off Edmonton this afternoon at Commonwealth Stadium. The fake, reverse. Foggy throwing deep for Boyd. He's got it.
Well, that's a great catch. I mean, the concentration was unbelievable. I wondered where he was throwing it. I saw it was the other one, Darrell Smith down there. Masadi. I thought he was throwing to him, and he was covered. But watch the catch, a little fake. There's the fake to try to buy some time. Step and throw it. Concentration, got him right on his back, and he pulls it in using mostly the left hand. That's where we said earlier, I thought they would get the Boyd more because of being a veteran.
That's a 48-yard gain. We're moving into the final minute. 1st and 10, Toronto. They are at the Saskatchewan 22-yard line. Foggy from the shotgun. Foggy may have to run this. Still on his feet, looking for the end zone. He's got a first down at the 5. 48 seconds is the time left.
See Don Matthews calling timeout right now. He wants the timeout with 48 seconds left. He's got 3 downs. He can go over and talk about it so there's no mistakes.
We talked about the big play capabilities of the Argos earlier. You got the punt return by Clemens, then the 48-yard strike from Ricky Foggy to Jeff Boyd, and suddenly the Argos are in position to tie it up.
Yeah, the whole second half, Saskatchewan had controlled them. They was going to force them to play ball control. Clemens came very close to breaking his. John Hoffman maybe saved the touchdown. And bang, as you mentioned, 48 yards to Boyd on a great catch. Then again, Foggy shows his athletic ability. He stepped around 3 different tackles there to get down to the 5. So from having complete control of a football game, we've seen 3 plays put them in trouble, in danger of tying the score.
Shotgun formation.
Looks like some heat coming.
48 seconds remaining. Into the end zone. Boyd, touchdown. 43 seconds remaining. We need the point after by Lance Chomick, and we could be going to overtime.
The decision I was... looks like he's going for 2. You know what? He's going for 2. That's what I heard him say. We're going for the win. I thought he was going to Darrell Smith, you know, with the height advantage. He just laid it out again. Watch Jeff Boyd. Just keep running, concentrate on the football and score, but they're going for the win. It's a little surprising, isn't it?
Well, they have second place sewed up, and they are going for the win. Gambling on the 2-point convert.
He's getting the zone this time. He's not getting man coverage.
Foggy throws, successful in the end zone to Jeff Boyd, and the Toronto Argonauts gamble on a 2-point conversion, and Jeff Boyd makes the catch for a 31-30 Toronto lead.
Gutsy play and a heck of a throw. He got it. He didn't get the man coverage that he was expecting. He just kind of scrambled. He had to get rid of the football. He just threw it into the hole. You know, find a hole in the secondary, and then Boyd shows up to catch it. It's a gutsy throw, but you got to do something with it. Don't eat it. Watch him. Now he has to escape. Just throws it. And who arrives? Number 80, Jeff Boyd, right in the hole, makes the catch.
Well, Don Matthews gambled on a 2-point conversion. Jeff Boyd made the touchdown catch. Jeff Boyd grabs the 2-point convert attempt, and it's now 31-30. Toronto leading.
How many people do you think were expecting Matthews to go for a 2-point conversion?
I wasn't really surprised. I was thinking about it when I saw them get the touchdown because they have second place sewed up. It is not going to have any effect on where they finish, and I suppose getting a 2-point convert would give them something of an emotional lift as well, going into their final game of the season and the playoffs. Orville Lee on the kickoff return, buried at the 18-yard line. 37 seconds left.
You see right here now, the kickoffs of Hank Olisic, especially kicking left to right on your television screen, has shown you why a deep kickoff is necessary. You saw him drive the ball, it hit the ground, it bounced high. Orville Lee got it, but look at the field position. They're at the 19-yard line. If you think back, we've said many times this year, every time a team kicks off, they're getting the ball out around the 40. They're inside the 20.
The Argos only had the ball for 5 minutes and 53 seconds in this fourth quarter, but yet they are in front, 31-30. Austin dumps it off to Milson Jones. Will he continue his game-winning heroics?
Well, I look up at 30 seconds. Ridgway's kicking.
And there's a penalty being marched off against the Toronto Argonauts. That also stops the clock at 30
Major
seconds.
foul, roughing the passer, number 40 Toronto, first down Saskatchewan.
That's a big one. James Parker. Now they're only about 2 completions away, about 20 yards or so. They got a good shot at getting Ridgway the shot at that field goal.
Over the middle to Elgard. He's brought down at the 51 with 26 seconds left.
Well, they'll give him that one. What they're doing is cross Elgard and under, and Boyko over the top. Chose to go for the 5 yards. 26 seconds. He got time for about 4 more plays. If he's ready.
In the shotgun. Austin over the middle to Lucius Floyd. He's stopped at the 50, but that's a Saskatchewan first down with 17 seconds left. And Saskatchewan is going to call a timeout. They are only about 5 or 6 yards away from what Dave Ridgway would require for a game-winning field goal.
The only question that I have right now, looking at the wind, down at the flags in the corner where he's going to kick that field goal from, they're blowing pretty good, and it's hard to say whether it's cross or where. It looks like it changes about every 10 seconds, but the longer the field goal, the more the wind's going to, affect it. So we'll see. They need, I don't think he can make it from 50 yards today against that wind right there. I'd say they need to get about 12 yards. I think he can from 45, though.
17 seconds. The clock will not start until the ball is snapped. The ball is at the 50-yard line. Austin using up a lot of time. Tried to dump it off to Milson Jones. 12 seconds remaining in the game.
You know what they did? They went against what they had been doing the last couple of plays. They'd been throwing short passes. This time they tried to fool him, tried to get Narcisse deep downfield. They tried to get the receivers to go deep, tried to hit him with a big one. They were covered, and as a result, they lost about 6-7 seconds on it. Now they only get time for about 2 more plays. They've used their timeout. They need a 10-yarder.
To the sidelines, intended for Elgard, incomplete. He was being covered by Carl Braisley. 7 seconds is the time remaining.
Fans wanted an interference call, but referee standing right, 2 feet away from where Elgard goes down. He got a little bit tangled up. I'll tell you what, you can call Elgard as much as Braisley. He's got that left hand pushing Braisley away, and if you saw the official standing right on top of it. Just let it go. Incidental contact. Both guys going for the ball.
And again, the clock does not start until the ball is snapped.
But he's got to get it. This is going to be his last chance to get it close enough to kick the field goal.
Sidelines, and taking it out of bounds is Ray Elgard at the 39.
46-yard field goal coming. Well, I said he could kick it from 45. We'll see if he can hit it from 46.
David Ridgway has already established a CFL record for field goals in a season, hitting 3 this afternoon, giving him 56 for the year.
Put it on the 47. Yeah, the ball on the 40. 7-yard back.
And he has already kicked one from 47 yards today, so this is certainly within his range. The final play of the game, it's good.
You never know when there's a big play. You know, like everyone thinks Elgard catches a down and out pattern, but if he doesn't catch the football, they don't make the field goal. 7-yard catch turns into be the biggest play to set it up.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders keep their hopes of finishing second in the West alive. Dave Ridgway with 4 field goals this afternoon. A 47-yarder on the final play for a 33-31 win. You have often said that's what they're paid to do, and you probably would not want to have anybody in the CFL but Dave Ridgway to kick it for you in that situation.
Well, we've said many times, if you need a punt, I want Bob Cameron. If I need a field goal, I want Dave Ridgway. And we said he could kick from 45, 47 yards. He splits the goalpost. What a way to end it.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders defeat Toronto on the final play, 33-31.
CFL Priority Courier Defensive Player for week number 15 is Saskatchewan's Dan Rasevich. On defense and on special teams, linebacker Dan Rasevich loomed large in the Roughriders' 29-24 victory over the Edmonton Eskimos. His big play interception on the goal line, 5 defensive tackles, and determined effort reaped enormous benefits for the Grey Cup champions. Dan Rasevich, CFL Priority Courier Defensive Player of the Week.
Presenting the 19...
The old terror has been serving.
It's new.
Nothing's rougher on a man's face than shaving. Aftershave.
Well, another one of those remarkable CFL turnarounds today. The Riders lost by 44 to Toronto last week, but win by 2 today. Dave Ridgway is the hero as the Riders keep alive their second-place hopes, and this may not have been the final game of the season at Taylor Field. Elsewhere in Edmonton, at the start of the third quarter, the Eskimos trail the Ticats by 5, and Ottawa beat Winnipeg 27-18 today. As we head to the final week of the season, some positions, one playoff spot undecided. It will all be by this time next week. We'll have 2 games on the CFL at CBC. Saturday night, we're at BC Place, and Hamilton is in Winnipeg on Sunday afternoon. On Sports Weekend next Saturday, join us for the Nations Cup and the continuation of our 5-pin bowling series. Goodbye from Regina.